All right, let's go ahead, 4:15, let's get the drainage committee meeting started. Let the record reflect that all members are present besides Mr. Carter. Item number 1, request approved pay the recording costs for Farmville Drainage Construction Contract in the amount of $1,590. Let's see if we got any money in the
Yeah.
drainage allocation.
I make a motion that we create a drainage project to cover that cost.
Yeah, he got.
All right, yeah, you got plenty of money. All
Second.
right, motion by Ms. Blanchard, second by Ms. Mathern, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries that funding is to come out of his drainage budget. Item number 2, request approval of Sweet South Loop Canal, Ward 2.
Yeah, I spoke to Mr. Jeff and we revisited the scope of it and, we came with a new cost estimate. The price is lower than last time due to us not needing to, dig the canal any deeper since the bottom of the culverts are all visible. It's just gonna be more of maybe a tad bit widening and removal of a lot of trees.
What's that estimate?
We do that in-house? In-house?
It's the sweeping, how far you going, the LA one?
To us from, Redwood Street down Evergreen, across Elm, Pine, and up Pear to where the culvert started.
I would recommend removing that project because it flooded the hell out of it.
What's the cost estimate on that?
15,960.
Where you get the money from?
Project number
There's a project.
92560. Project number 92560.
The project flooded most of Laverdale. We had 3 foot of water in 2 streets in Kingston subdivision.
That probably been approved.
No, that's what happened at the project. The
Yeah,
water
we got
wasn't
it.
getting out. It used to have head pressure when they fill up the canal
Yeah.
and push out to the bay.
You got approved?
Now, when you fill up, what's that?
You got approved?
You gotta prove. Yeah, but I said we gotta remove it, not prove it.
Charlie, you don't know what you're talking
You're
about.
talking about.
I know what I'm talking about. I've
this
been
job
watching that
they just
canal for
did.
35 years. I've seen it
The
2/3,
job they
3/4
just
full.
did, that they doing-
When he got out to the bay,
The big job that they're doing currently, that's
The
what he's
one
talking
with the
about.
culverts that the
Yeah,
state.
the one they
that
did.
you just put in, the state put in. It flooded all of Laverdale.
All right,
It
that's,
never happened before.
it's 92,560.
Yeah.
And I told him that when they were doing it, one of the state guy was there, I guess he was the engineer, I said, this is not gonna work. He said, why? I said, because I've seen this canal 2/3, 3/4 full, and the water got out to the bar because of head pressure. If you don't have head pressure, the water's going in the living rooms of the people's house. Because when the culvert fills at the end, the field end, it's not moving anymore. The water in the culvert, because you don't have head pressure to push it.
Disagree.
Who disagrees?
I disagree.
No, you can, but if that's what's happening, it'll happen again, till you remove it.
It's in your ward, Jeff?
How does the, this is the open part of the ditch going to where those culverts are?
Yeah.
Right?
Maintenance. The maintenance project to sweep that canal out. I do it about every 4 or 5 years, depending on the silting.
But the project's already been approved in
Yeah, the funds are there.
the drainage application.
Right.
Get ready.
Get a motion.
I'm not on the committee.
That's what I'm saying.
Y'all number 2.
Item number 2.
I make a motion to approve the sweep out the loop.
All right, that's $15,000 coming out of job number 92,560, an amount of 15,000. Motion by Mr. Carter.
This is a maintenance project, guys.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Blanchard. This is just sweeping it out. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion, we got one, that goes against. All right, motion carries.
Fill the whole damn thing up.
All right, item number 3, discuss alternate drainage for Bruley, Laverdale. Ms. Landry? Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Handout, can I give that to someone?
Sure, you
Pass it
can
on?
give it in.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Vanessa Newman. My address is 443 Cherry Street in Lavendale. Good evening, members of the police jury. I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you tonight. I come to you as a concerned citizen, not for myself, but for my entire community. Just recently, my guest house was flooded due to heavy rains and poor drainage from the connecting canals in our area. This is not the first time my property and others in the neighborhood have suffered from flooding. The situation is worsening each year, and it's clear that drainage infrastructure in our area simply cannot handle the increasing rainfall. Many of us in Laverdale feel the impact of this poor drainage with each storm, and it's not only affecting our homes, but our peace of mind. We are worried that the next heavy rain will come even more significant damage or even displace families. I'm asking the police jury to take immediate and long-term action to address this issue. Specifically, I urge you to conduct a thorough assessment of the drainage system in Laverdale, particularly in the areas like Cherry Street, to identify the problem areas and come up with a plan for improvements. Allocate funds for regular maintenance and clearing of debris from the drainage canals. Overgrown vegetation and blockages are contributing to the problem, and proper upkeep would significantly reduce the risk of the flooding. Work with engineers to develop a sustainable plan that includes upgrading the existing drainage infrastructure to handle more significant rainfall. We need to be proactive in ensuring our systems can cope with this reality. I understand that improvements to the infrastructure take time and resources, but I also believe that the well-being and safety of our community should be a priority. We need action before the next storm causes even more damage. Thank you for your time and consideration. I hope that with your leadership and commitment, we can protect our homes, our families, and our future. Thank you.
Man,
Well, we know there's a project in the master plan for the Laverdale drainage project. There's $1.8 million that we are seeking some funds to do a thorough maintenance all the way from the whole canal to clean it all the way to as far as we can go to way in that towards the lakeside, swamp side, to do that, but it takes money. And a lot of money, and we have our delegation again, I think it's $1.8 billion to do that project total, and do it the right way for maintenance. Your house flooded twice. And the first thing you told me, I don't hear nothing about no 20-inch rain. We had it. We
I
can't hide from
respectfully
that.
disagree. We had maybe 8 inches.
I'm not gonna argue about how much rain we had, but we
That's
had
fair.
more rain in the area that we never saw before, both sides of 10-10, so. But there's some, we're gonna work on a master plan. I got a master plan for one. Years ago, we had an alternative route and it fell through. And maybe we need to seek that again, because that definitely will help, without a doubt,
I think another
Yeah.
outlet would be a big improvement.
without a
A
doubt.
bigger one than that. We needed to take the water out of front Laverdale too, because of the recent project. That water has to go to the back now.
So you're telling me that
It's going on you all.
from
It's gonna have to, it
Highway
will,
1 all the way
automatic.
to the back? Now,
It
would
will
it,
automatically
Nah,
go,
he's wrong.
because it's
How
not coming
fair
out
is
through the
that?
front.
Yeah, he's wrong. He's wrong.
Look, stop saying I'm wrong, damn it, you hear?
You're wrong.
I'm not, I'm telling the truth.
All right. That's your opinion, Charlie. But
Aaron,
anyway,
Aaron, could you take some guys down there and just look at the culverts to see if they got a restriction or anything for,
Not just that.
Anytime, you know, just to
air
make
vents.
sure
You
that
have 2 or
they're
3 catch basins and you need air in a pipe for it to float.
And
And
speaking,
there's not enough of those.
I spoke to Miss Vanessa on the phone and.
how long ago was that put down, Mr. Charles?
This started before I took office, but it ended.
How long
recently.
ago?
It ended recently. I don't know when was the last, they've played with that for a year or so.
the project just finished.
It was
We had major rain. We had a
maybe
6-inch rain
2
a
months
while
ago.
back in the day.
2 months ago, y'all went checking, go check.
No, I'm
again.
talking about that project.
No, I'm talking about the culverts in the ditch, to make sure they're free and clean of all debris, make sure there's
Check
no
the
restriction in
engineering.
there, at least where it'll start to drain.
And check the engineering, how much water you can take.
And the pictures to prove it. We lived the entire width of the slough. He's correct.
Show them, I'm
The
telling you,
hole
I'm correct.
there does not have ample room for all that trash through to come.
Not just the trash,
all
the
way
water
through.
going to the body.
Yeah, they had
It's
14
restricted now.
inches of water in their house. We had 4 foot of water in our yard.
What's the new culvert they put in Labrador?
That's what I'm talking about.
That used to flow to the bayou.
Right.
It don't empty into the
The canal used to fill up, I've seen it twice, 2/3 and 3/4 full, and the water rushed to the bayou like a pump. And the bayou would take it on the surface and bring it, pull it and push it.
Is it still?
They need head, no, they don't have head pressure.
They just did.
You need head
If
pressure
y'all-
to
if You got a
move water.
comment, please come up and state your name and address for the record, please, sir.
There's the
Well,
same.
I remember as a child, Locust,
Oh, yeah.
there was a big canal there. I own the property next to
A
Locust.
lot of them
But
went
I
all
don't
the way
see
to
any
the
water
swamp.
going there.
Years ago, they discontinued them, all going by, Locust Road, all of that was going to the swamp, but they cut it off and, held it out by, Orsamon.
I think we
Going to the
should
back.
take Mr. Bros'
They used to have
comments into
canals, a bunch of
consideration.
canals going to the swamp.
Because I'm a lifetime resident of Lavertyville.
So conservation did it.
Chairman Pompey, I'd like to make a request that we, send a letter to DOTD and requesting that we have a meeting with their engineer for that project to discuss the negative impacts of the project and see how they evaluated it, so that we can determine if it truly is a negative impact created by the project or not.
Kim, could you send that?
I had 46
maybe tomorrow?
houses in Kingston subdivision with water in them, from 1 foot to 3 foot. And even the sewer water went in one of them because the sewer plant overflowed. And the lady hadn't been back to the house. I went yesterday, and my tag on the door, I gave her a tag for FEMA to apply. She never returned to the house yet. She can't go in it. There's mold and all kind of other stuff.
And isn't that
That's
particular
Pecan
area
Street,
you're talking,
Pelican.
okay, that particular area you're talking about, it used to go through Redwood, but now there's a dam there.
You know, the redwood is to make the water go out through the north loop. I put that dam a long time ago.
And
Now, we
why?
took 23 acres of farmland away from Labradorville too by routing it. That's why I put the dam there, for
Okay,
the water to go out, because Keelan Myers' house at the corner, it would
Mhm.
flood in a drizzle.
sure.
And it never flooded again.
So does
after
mine.
that. It never flooded after that. And
And
we
that's
cleaned the
what I'd like to
canal,
see
and we had no problems, but I see it build up, but you had head pressure going to the bottom. With gravity drainage, head pressure, you don't need a pump. But it works better than a pump.
All right, my name's Robert Settle. I live at 726 Bruley Road, Lavertyville. We definitely need a bridge on Bruley Road like they have on 1010 to get our water out. Right now, there's a pallet in that culvert right now in front of their house. Bone Drive, we possibly had another storm coming. Nobody came to take nothing out. That was in there. They had a fiberglass P-Rog. They had different stuff in the canal.
It was reported?
Yes.
Was it reported?
I
Add
called
something
Mr.
to
I tried
Aaron
getting it out
Friday.
myself, but I can only do so much. But anyway, that was when we took, 3 days for our water to go out, right? About 3 days? We ain't never took 3 days to get rid of water. I've seen water on June 27th. We had a flood at our house. I almost had it in my shop again. This time I had 18 inches, but back then it was all cane shook. Nothing against the farmers. the canal was plugged with cane shuck. Both of them culverts was plumb full. That backed up all our water. The other side of the road didn't have much on it, but our side was plugged with cane shuck. Nothing against farmers, like I said, because they help us, but we need to do something. 2 culverts and that big bulkhead they put is blocking the water across Bruley Road. It won't get out. And then we need some exits, some more exits between us and Supreme Road to go out of 1010. We need another path to get it out.
Yeah.
I've never had 18 inches of water in my shop.
We got aerial,
Sir, if you could come up, please.
Brandon Boudreaux, I live at 712 Brother Road. I got some footage of the drones the next day, probably 10, 11 o'clock. The water had dropped a lot, but it was still high. All of our yards, you could see it plain as day. And then you can follow it around to the back and turn, what that is over there, by the pool.
1010, the canal back of
That
1010.
subdivision over there, they flooded the same. But I have that footage if anybody wants to see it.
Yeah, if you could share it with someone, that way we could have it whenever we do meet with DOTD. We'd like to
That's
present
Brule
it.
liability. We'll get it there. Get it to me. We'll give you a mic.
Senator Jeff Narcan.
Right, so we're gonna set up a meeting, send a letter to DOTD, requesting a meeting to get with them and see if there was any adverse effect to that job that they did.
Okay, and can I ask, how can I get updated? I have to come to the meetings to be updated?
Jeff will update you.
Yeah, we get it as soon as we get any action. Yeah. any
Okay,
request.
because
Yeah,
I've been a
right.
resident there almost 30 years and, you know, I usually tolerate the water, but once it gets into my properties, that's a different story. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Newman. All right, item number 4, well, we need a motion to send a letter to DOTD.
I make a motion to send a letter out to DOTD.
Motion by Mr. Carter, second by Ms. Mathern, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, request approval to purchase a diesel generator for pumps, Ward 4, Mr. Pro.
Yeah, the generators we had were electrical and we didn't have power for a good while. And we had on Murray and Conscian Road, I have a few pictures here, but can look at it. This is the Conscian Road. And we didn't get power at the one on Murray for 3 days. And they had water on 400, at least 2 foot deep. On LA 400. And all of the back Murray was flooded with water. Patrick Johnson's truck at his daddy's house had the water to the doorknob of the driver's side door. I took a picture of that. It might be in here. If you can throw these around, look at them. This is the church. The graveyard has tombs floating. 2 graveyards, 2 churches, one in Conscian and this one here.
That's behind that, Mr. Charles.
There's a little levee, but it's not working. One of the levees, everything's circulating back to the pump. Paul told me that, a few other people.
Yeah, there's a
But nobody's
section,
ever done nothing. I want to open up from there to by Supreme Canal to the bayou, to the water's edge of the bayou. And going to the back too, because since Supreme was closed, all of that's been condemned. Going to the back, going to the lake. And I have to open all
Aaron,
of
did
it.
you go take a look to see where the water was recirculating from?
yeah, it's in
Right.
the project that Joseph has, that's under contract. There's an additional levee that's needed on Georgette. The levee along the side of the Maury Canal isn't tall enough in a certain section. So if it crests it right there and it puts it onto Georgette. So the reason the pumps can't run at Georgette right away is because the water needs to come down in the canal also. If you want to elaborate too,
Yeah,
it's in the project that's under contract to add an additional levee there.
as
But-
part of the
but-
scope adjustments that you all approved a couple of meetings back when we split the Maury and the Lower Texas projects, part of the Maury project in that scope is to increase the size of the levee at the back end of Georgette and at the pump station to stop that water, because currently, he's correct, the water level in the canal rises faster than it can be pumped out, especially when we lose power. that water's making its way around the backside of that levee and flooding the area of Georgette. There are two pumps on the back, two small pumps on the back of Georgette to pump out those areas
What
already.
size pumps? Are
And that's what I was asking, Paul.
two of them?
One gas, one.
Yeah, one natural gas, one
They're
liquid.
not working. They didn't work for 3 days. They had water
The big pumps.
all over Georgette, in the people's houses.
They don't come on until the big pumps?
Well, no, you got water coming over the levee, you just wait.
Yeah, yeah.
Recirculate water.
We looked at sizing. In fact, I spoke with an electrical engineer this afternoon of what size generator it would take to run the Maury pumps. You had 3 100 horsepower, 24-inch pumps, currently there. That would take to start those motors would take somewhere around a 600 to 750 kW generator to start. Because you have
Say
to
that
have,
again?
in other words, you have 3 100 horsepower pumps. Okay, so that's 55,000 or 55 kW running. That's just running 55 kW per pump. So starting kW for each one of those motors is somewhere around 110 kW. So to have sufficient power, you're looking at a significant size generator.
What size generator do we rent?
400, 400 kW.
What's the one that going to Goshen Road?
That's it.
How much?
400.
400?
And that's what, and
And this is,
do you know how many pumps you were able to run on?
so we were just running two.
Two, running two.
The two. So yeah, he's right, to run all 3 electrics. With the way they set up now, they're a hard start. So that's why it's gonna draw so much. The only way to prevent that would be with VFD panels.
Yeah,
So
you
they
have to
they
put
soft
variable
start.
frequency drives. The other, and in looking at the cost between installing a generator back there and putting the fuel, and being able, because that's the other issue, we have to be able to get fuel to it and store enough fuel back there for at least 72 hours of operation of 3 pumps. An alternative that I would discuss with Mr. Bro today, and again, I don't have any numbers because we're trying to get this out as quick as we can, would be the possibility of converting, putting right angle gear drives similar to what you have on the natural gas third one, and putting 3 diesel engines. Because it would be a much smaller diesel. It'd take about 150 horsepower diesel engine to run those pumps. And then we would have to have a large enough diesel tank, but that might not be as cost prohibitive to buy 3 diesel engines compared to, say, a 750 kW or 600 kW generator with the fuel tank. You're looking at, and look, this is strictly estimates, but you're probably looking at about $700,000 to install a generator system big enough with the transfer switches and everything to run those 3 pumps. And so that's why I'm trying to look at alternatives, because I don't know anywhere where you would have $700,000 in the current
I
budget
don't think we have that.
to handle that.
So what's the scope of the existing project that you have a contract for right now?
Let me get to that page. Under the Mare improvements, we have a total, this is the Mare project, not, remember, we split Lower Texas and Mare, but we have a total budget of $1,042,600. Included in that is we are relocating the bar screen to Conscian Road, backing it up to give a bigger reservoir in that area, and that would also allow us to expand it to allow more water through. We are also going to be excavating that area between those 2 parts. We're going to be excavating the outfall from where the pumps are pumping over the levee to Bayou Lafourche. We're going to be increasing the levees at both the Mare along the side of the canal, at the pump station itself, and of course, across the back of Georgette, as I previously explained. Then we have excavation of the ditches along Oakley Road, and in particularly, the ditches is on the opposite side of North Oakley Road, where water is currently coming across, overflowing and feeding into the Mare, because that's adding to the problem once the pumps stop. So if we can dig those ditches and allow that water to have a reservoir on the opposite side of Oakley Road and use Oakley Road as a dam to protect that area as it was intended, we could then force that water forward. There is a very deep reservoir at LA one and culverts going under the road. We would
At
put a
Oakley?
small pump at
At
that
Oakley Road?
location.
In Oakland?
At Oakley, yes, sir.
That project was tried about 25, 30 years ago, right?
Shot it the other day.
They started in,
Right.
Fall.
yeah,
It didn't work.
I
I talked to
understand.
the former.
I understand.
It didn't work,
I'm aware. I'm aware.
so why would you try it again?
Well, regardless, we have to dig those areas to provide a reservoir for the water
There's
to
a
go.
culvert that's condemned underneath LA one right there,
I'm aware of it.
at Oakley Road.
There, he's correct.
There's another one by Georgette
Condemned.
Street.
And
No,
when
It's
they done
there, I
it,
don't know if it's condemned.
What he's saying is 100% correct.
they ended up about 6 feet underneath that culvert.
Yes, it's deep. It is very deep. The proposed plan right now is to at least try to give a reservoir and utilizing that deep area for the water to go before it pours onto the Mare. But we would have to have a means or method of getting it out of there. So it would take a pump. Because it's not going, you're 100% correct. What was done 30 some odd years ago, they attempted it, did not work. So this, to make it work, it's not gonna gravity flow. It's not gonna go from the lower Mare area up to LA one and drain into Bayou Lafourche, which is what they were attempting to do with the culvert under LA one. It's going to take a pump to do it. So that's what we have proposed, is a small pump at LA one on the Oakley Road side. That would be the only way that would work.
Got a copy of the scope of work?
Yes, sir.
You got one for each of us?
No, I have one, but what I'll do, I can email it out to everybody.
Let's take a
because-
look at that.
So,
Yes, sir.
so Mr. Charles, I got a question for you. Does that scope of work, is that consistent with addressing the issues that you have
Come on.
listed on here?
Some-
All right.
Where Georgette was another one street, it's something going under there. And it's on the tree line, it's
Mhm.
not on the Georgette side, it's next to it. That's where a car was going through the highway, I don't know if it's open. You found it, but you couldn't hardly see it in the ditch.
But again, that's all the way up at the highway. By the
It's
time
at the
you get to
highway.
the elevations at the rear of Georgette
You
Street, they're
gotta
so
get that
low.
Oakley,
That water building up to even get to that point has already flooded the people in the back.
there's a few other culverts around Supreme.
Mhm.
Oakley, Georgia Plantation Road. That's gotta go to the buyer.
How many pumps we have in back of Maury right now?
Back of Maury?
There's two, it'd be 3 electric.
What size?
24-inch,
Yeah.
18,000 gallon a minute.
Electric?
Yeah, there's 2 are on stem to run. There's a third with the 90-degree gear drive, like you were saying, with a natural gas engine. So it's 3.
In 3 days, the water didn't go down.
What size pumps? 24. All three?
They're 18,000 GPM each. And correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron, but when it's dropped down to, when there's no power, you drop down to the one natural gas engine.
Correct.
And if I'm correct, the natural gas engine can't run it at full.
Half
You're not
full
getting-
pipe.
yeah, you're not
Half full
getting-
pipe.
You're not getting the full 18,000 gallons. You might be getting 10.
Right.
That pipe was half full of water. Coming over the net,
I'm
yeah.
aware. Yes, sir.
So we have nearly $1.4 million allocated already to this project from Gomesa. You have an active engineering contract. I think the problem has been discussed. What we need is a bid package so we can go out to bid to fix the problem.
Especially that low.
I wanna look at this, I wanna look at this scope of work before.
I'll gladly forward. Yeah, I brought it to the jury with a full layout. I'll email it to each and every one of you.
I wanna make sure what he has in place is gonna work. I mean, I'd like for more eyes to look at it too, not just mine.
But we'll email it to everybody.
Mr. Jones, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Hindsight, with the amount of rain that Labatteville took on, if everything was working, would the Maury have flooded?
No. That's hard to say,
Because it
but
took on a lot of,
yes, sir, it did.
Everything stopped up.
My firm had designed that original pump station back shit, it's gotta be 25 years ago now. I can tell you it was designed with the watershed and the flow coming to it for a 100-year storm at that time. It was designed to run continuously with the two pumps and the third coming on in extreme situations. What's crippled you at this point is when power's lost at an early rate back there, you're not losing 2/3 of your pumping capacity. You're losing 3/4 of it, because when the natural gas engine kicks in, you get 9 to 10,000 where you should be getting 18. And at that point, the water's already built up. So it takes all three pumps 3 days to get it out of there by the time it all backs up. I think you would have had a very good fighting chance of no one flooding if all three pumps were under continuous operation, which would either take, as we said, a very large generator or switching them to an alternative fuel like diesel, where we could run them. And the reason I'm advocating diesel at this point in time is we already know we can't store enough propane back there to run them at full speed and get the flow out of them. You know, and again, you only have X amount of dollars to work with, so we're trying to work with what you got.
Put a cost estimate together for the diesel pumps.
And it wouldn't necessarily,
With your scope of work.
it wouldn't take changing the pumps. It would basically, we would be changing the gear heads on the tops of the pumps to right angle,
Gearboxes and.
right now, they're all they're vertical drives with one alternative right angle. We would basically change the other two right angle alternatives and then switch out. We would probably even go so far as to remove the propane driven pump that's there, or propane engine that's there. And I would recommend replacing it with a diesel engine. What I'm trying to figure out right now is, do I have enough space on the current platform to mount 3 engines side by side? Fuel tanks would have to be placed on the levee, where they can be accessed, even in a hot water rise.
You can't put a generator on levee?
You can put a generator on the levee, but you're looking at $1 million. Flat out. By the time you get a 600 kW generator in there, which is what it would take to run the 3 of them, the transfer switch alone is 150 grand.
The thing too is we find a solution and fix that problem. Whenever we got a storm in the Gulf,
And that's what,
he
and,
needs to run the generator for that couple until the storm goes.
right.
Just to get the situation done, It's not gonna be
Make
done
sure they
overnight.
work. But after the storm hits.
I understand what you get, but I
That's what
understand.
happened.
You got friends that's coming to the Gulf, you know it's coming, get your generator, get it ready before the storm get here. And until we fix the problem.
That's why it built up. It had no
Understand.
electricity.
But if you got a storm next week, 2 weeks.
How many pumps you got included in that scope of work?
Currently, right now, it's just, it's 2 small pumps at Oakley.
All right, what about the pump that's only pumping half capacity? You gotta change that out too.
That pump is already there. It's not the pump causing the half capacity, it's the engine.
It's just underpowered.
It's underpowered, and that's what I'm talking about. By switching that engine out from a propane to a diesel where I can run it at full speed.
When looking at the solution for this, was there any consideration for a gravity drainage canal?
That's what we have to do.
We're looking at the possibility of a larger culvert under LA.
No, I'm talking about going towards Constant Canal and being able to reopen the canal that used to be there in that area.
If you open it. Once you ain't gonna, I don't know what the elevation is to it. It's going the wrong way because you're going downhill to the back.
There's a ridge that you have to overcome where the railroad track.
It used to
was.
connect. All of that used to connect to.
That is something we can
Years
look
ago.
at, certainly can look at it, looking at the solution, but but can I tell you that we've looked at it between now and the storm though? What we currently looked at was alternatives to the pumping situation.
I think we need to look at a solution that's not a multi-million-dollar pumping station for a district that does not contribute at all to the pumping station. It's fully subsidized by the parish. This can be solved with a gravity drainage from this area.
Or a grant.
Gravity drainage from, I'm just telling you, gravity drainage from that Mare area I can go back and we can look at the surveys, because we did a survey of the entire area back when that project was done, and that project is a bowl. It is a low point for all of
I
them.
understand it's a bowl. I'm just asking if it was evaluated and ruled out.
It was evaluated and ruled out about 25 years ago, because they did look at that. And I mean, I can pull the DOTD studies and the things that were done from back then, from what I have. Again, it's 25 years old. I'll pull everything I've got. But I can tell you that was a DOTD funded project. And the ended scope was set by the Department of Transportation. And what they did was they raised Oakley Road to a high ridge in the rear. And then they installed a levee from LA1 at the pump station going back till they hit a high ridge on that standpoint to isolate that area and install the pump station because it was too low to get any gravity water out. I'm not saying that it's not advantageous to look at it again.
But Oakley Road, you wanted to buy it.
You know, I understand the
It's fine.
situation, and look, if you can get water out by gravity, that's always an advantage to putting a pump. It's always an advantage to putting a pump, but if you got a bowl, you got a bowl. And just like Mr. Diaz said, 30 years ago, they tried that. They tried digging, and that canal going towards LA1 is deep, and that pipe that's down there that's condemned is extremely deep, but it didn't work. It requires a pump to work.
But that's draining towards Bayou Lafourche, not.
Right. I agree.
I think it's just a matter of sizing the canal to take that volume of water for whatever head you have.
Not, because it would have to be able to sit somewhere and back up somewhere. And that is in the scope of work that I have. That's why we're advocating at least digging those areas on the opposite side of Oakley it's more really to create a reservoir for that water to go until it can slowly make its way through the culverts that we have under Oakley and slowly feed the pumps after it's pumped down. But we need a reservoir of some sort for that water to go. And that's gonna take, whether we're able to slowly feed it out through Conscian or the Himalaya or any other canal, it has to have some place for that water to go initially.
That's what's happening in Labrador with that project. They had a place to go.
It's the same, it's very similar to the situation that we faced with the Platteville drainage, and we had to put in a part of that project is digging a reservoir.
Let's take a look at that. Look at maybe digging out a outfall, Crozet Ridge also. Before we go any further with this multi-million-dollar pumping station you got.
Mr. Joseph, what's your timeline?
Right now, we have as you all know, you all added the Himalaya Canal to the Lower Texas scope. Those permits have been applied for and the fees have been paid. So those permits are right now, applications are under review. With Department of Natural Resources and the Army Corps of Engineers. Once we get those, we can finish up the designs on that Lower Texas side. As far as the Monterey side, the canal portions and so forth, those cross sections are done. We have a preliminary design completed on the relocation of the bar screen. But we have not touched anything with the pump station and all of that moving forward. It is in our scope of work to do some improvements there, but it's being discussed as some alternatives to putting the pumps, or what can we do as an alternative before we finish up those designs.
Pam, you got something?
I do. That's okay. Hi, I'm Robin Belton. We live at 734 Bruley Road. Gentleman in the red shirt is our next door neighbor. They had 14 inches of water in their home. The Bros right there, their shop was completely flooded. We had close to 4 foot of water in our yard. Yes, I have the pictures. The slough runs the entire length of our property. I have called, y'all have come cleaned by the culvert where the 3 little holes are, but in the entirety of us owning that property for 9 years, that slough has not been cleaned out once. It is full of trash. We do the best we can crawling down there and getting crap out of it. But as of right now, there's a tree part that's that big around. The two holes, Mr. Bro was right when he said, when you put that bridge in at 1010, you needed to put one there on Bruley. Because those two holes, the amount of water that comes, it floods all that whole cane field. That water stayed in our yard for 3 days. It cannot flow. It is, those holes in that culvert are not big enough for the amount of
That's not part
water.
of this, Charlie.
Mr. Bro over here, he is correct. It's,
Yeah, yeah, but what size culvert you have?
She's talking really, she's totally different.
It's near
Totally
Sophie Street.
different what she's talking
no,
about.
I'm not. I'm talking at the
talking
intersection
really
on
loudly.
Bruley Road by Claymont.
Yes.
Claymont's Appliance, we're right there. We got the
You
blunt,
say it's slough, the ditch in front of your house or the slough?
the
in front of your
ditch,
house?
whatever you wanna call that thing. It's never been cleaned.
They just did a little sweep, they swept that thing not too long ago,
No, they did not.
pull that grass out of it.
No, they did not.
Along Highway Building Road?
No, we live there. We know.
Anything out of there for you.
We did on the
I
south side.
actually cut
On
the,
the south side?
Robert cuts it.
I actually cut the canal with my excavator and bush hogs. Cause nobody cuts it.
Yeah.
Thank
That's a
you.
fact. They let me in their property to cut it.
It is now.
To keep us flowing as good as we can.
He does it. Y'all didn't
Is
do
that the
it.
back side of your house or front side?
This is the entire length.
I understand, is the back side or the front
On
side?
The side of their
On the
house.
side of the
On the
house.
side of the
Side
house.
of the house.
Runs perpendicular to the highway.
It runs with 1010.
Right.
It's parish property. It's not ours.
No, I'm not saying, no, I only know that the back people, the homes on the front.
But there's no one behind us. The people, is it Lizard? The people, everybody flooded there. There was not, I mean, their home was totaled. Euban's home was totaled. He's lived there 14 years. They've never had flooding like that. We've lived there 9. This lady, them, their homes, something's got to be. Get up here, girl.
My
Something-
sister has lived there for almost 50 years and never flooded. So she's not required to have flood insurance, and yet she got water. So guys, something is happening. I mean, we can get 2 inches of rain and our yards can flood. It's crazy.
We're gonna take a look at it.
We get
Ms.
somebody
Newman.
looking at it.
But now,
Yeah, not the more.
I
yeah,
think,
now,
Aaron, I think you need to
Mr.
get a crew out there
Knockhead now.
tomorrow, along with you and your supervisors, and walk that area. See what's causing the backups.
You walk that canal from Bruley Road behind the old swimming pool to 1010. They got trees all up in it. I pulled some out this weekend with my excavator.
See what's causing the
My son
problem,
owned the pool.
Check
and
that out for us.
take care of it, even if it mean that you gotta, I'll agree to, even pay some guys to work overtime to get that area cleaned up, because
That project is on the books already.
There's
Yep,
the one for,
that was approved on July 10th of 2024. Project 93-198, Main Canal along, I call it on Sulphur Street, but Sulphur Street to, Bullet Road to 1010. That project is on the books there.
All right, see where we at on that project, Aaron, and get back with us, or take care of it. Take care of it.
start working on
Alright.
that project tomorrow.
Moving forward.
I'll be home. Y'all can just walk all in the yard you want.
Item number 4, we're still on number 4, for the purchase of a diesel generator. We're gonna get, Joseph is gonna get some prices on that, so we'll bring that back up. Right.
Both sides.
All right, no action. Item number 5, request approval to clean out the following outfalls. From the bayou of Supreme Mill to prevent backflow flooding, Murray Canal to establish the levee, Oakley Road, 3555 LA1, Georgia Road, Georgette Street, and LA1 at the water tower.
Gonna mention some of these, but the one that,
What we took care of already.
That would fall.
we have to desperately do that, so. And that's for Conscian Road and Murray and all to come out to buy Lafourche. And that's going to buy Lafourche by Supreme Road.
All right, Aaron, you know where
That would go
that
both
goes?
ways to the
That's the
mill
one that-
too.
the one that passes along 1011 behind the houses.
10, 11. Yeah,
Like the Supreme. Road.
that's one, and the other one's next to it, on the other side, that stone looking house.
Go from the mill.
It goes all the way to the water,
where does the water go from the old mill? Check that already.
back to the back.
But does it
It came from the front. We have a canal coming to the front too there. They used to pump for the mill with brine from the bayou. And that water goes to the back, but it's all been condemned. Because Supreme's closed. And back in 84, 82, they stopped the mill, grinding.
All right, so
That's
where's
when they
it draining
needed the
at now?
water, when they were grinding.
Where's it draining at now?
Nowhere,
I'm all clogged up.
clogged up.
But all those,
That's why even
the fuel
for
is
all
gone,
these
so you
front-
if you clean the front, you have no where the water to go.
There's a good staying in their
Pipe
living
that goes to
room.
Balafush was the intake for the pump.
Yeah,
It
so
wasn't
it's
designed for
higher
drainage.
than
It's
the
higher
drain.
than, it's higher, it would have to, you'd have to hold, you need a whole new pipe on the bottom, on the highway one, at Supreme. It wouldn't work.
Where?
The
By the
pipe,
house?
the pipe that's
It's
under
Supreme.
Highway one, or Supreme,
Uh-huh.
it's too
By the
high.
Supreme Road, where the
Yes, sir.
pump was.
Yes, sir, where the pump was,
Uh-huh.
that culvert is too high, and we tried to find it several
Too high
months
for
back.
what? For the bayou?
Yes, it's too high to get water out of the ditch. For to drain, that water, that ditch on the side of the road holds water, you'd have to go to the back.
Well, you can go to the back. It
You
used
have
to
to
go to
redig the
the
whole, you have to redig the whole ditch, you have to pass through Supreme, through all that property. There have to be right-of-way agreements and.
This
One
is the
person
project
owns
that we
that now,
currently
too.
have a contract on.
All right, so
with
Joseph
Savoy.
is,
Yes,
You wouldn't
all right,
mind
that's
doing it.
correct.
so Mr. Savoy is working on that one.
That's
Let's move on to Oakley Road.
That one,
It's
All right.
included also.
What about 3555 LA one?
All right, that's the pipe, we found it. Aaron, we found the pipes the other day.
The
Always
one
with,
by your house?
yeah.
Okay.
Something wrong under the highway,
State
because they
road.
keep that packing
This
black
goes on the
stuff.
highway one.
But we have to flush it out from the bayou and to the highway, on both sides, to show them why it's clogged up. And I know what it is, it's a crust covered under the highway.
That's,
And I'll
Highway
be
one?
that's in
all right,
January.
Aaron, get with this, DOTD, the Queenville office on that to get them to.
Call your state
check that out.
representative.
Yeah, I submitted that one already.
Call your state representative.
They blew a section of it. I never got any word back from them if they found any collapsed portion or whatever.
Write that down,
It
call
has
them
to
up
be
tomorrow, get an
grass,
update
because
on it, please.
The concrete slab in the highway is sinking. You put about 8 inches of blacktop on top of it.
What about Georgia Road?
Georgia Road's gotta be opened up to the bayou.
We got an existing project, to go from Georgia Road north, and when it makes the 90 degrees, it comes to Highway one. So when we purchased the culvert for, that one's already a
It's
project.
in the works. but-
That one's in the works already?
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta make sure it's open to the bayou there.
Georgette Street and LA one, in the
There's another one
water
I found. It's
It's a cross culvert, correct?
it's a T there, but there's one there, the fence line of Georgette Street. The tree line behind Georgette Street,
And
right there.
to clarify, you're talking about along the highway?
All along the highway. Yeah, but right at the water tower, you know where the water tower is, right there.
Get with DOTD on that one as well, Aaron.
Well, we
please.
have to first get to it, to the part under the highway and see if something's wrong there. You know, it's all clogged up at the ditch. So if we can flush that out, we see where we're going and dig that ditch along the fence line back to Georgette Street, and that water wouldn't stay, and some of that would have come out that way.
Let the machine
Big
be
Paul
left
had
for a while.
noticed that too, you know, he was working on that with.
All right. All right, item number 6, request approval to replace a culvert at 4520 Highway 1, Ward 5.
Yes, this is it's a collapsed catch basin with, the culverts on both sides of it. Water was passing under the culvert that was rotting, and it created a big sinkhole in the yard. It's a viable project.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Mathern, second by Mr. Pro, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7, request of approval to replace culvert at 4525.
It's the same thing as the one before. Water was passing through under the culvert, undermined it. That one created a large sinkhole also, the viable project.
Cost on that was let's go back and add the cost to the items, sorry. What was the cost for number 6, item number 6?
$4,742.60.
It's coming out of drainage allocation.
So these projects require new catch basins to be constructed?
These, it's more feasible to use pre-made, just two-way.
All right, I'm just gonna ask that, you know, I have a catch basin that's, we're talking about sinkhole, you know, the washouts and holes that are a problem. We have an outfall that was approved in 2022 that we still have not finished yet, that has an open top. We have orange fencing around it right now. We keep approving these other projects to get it fixed. This one has not been addressed.
Take care of it. Take care of the problem.
So that one needs some attention. We keep passing these other projects and they're getting done before this older project is just forgotten. I know I've been asking about it.
Are we clear on that one, Ms. Landry?
Yes, sir.
All right, that, item number 6 was a total amount of $4,742.60.
Motion.
So moved and passed.
Yeah, you moved it past. Just want to verify, for the record, the amount. Item number 7, total amount was $3,585.20.
Motion, you got the funds.
Motion by Mr. Mathern,
Second.
second by Mr. Bro. All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Coming out of drainage allocation as well. Item number 8, requests that the state digs ditches on Highway 1003, Ward
Yes.
6.
I put that one on there. These ditches haven't been done, I know, since I've been a police juror. That's been almost 9 years. So I request that we send a letter to DOTT, asking to dig these ditches. It's all grassed up and there's no water flowing through them.
Need more for
I
that?
think in addition to just digging the ditches, they have to blow out the culverts. They can't just dig the ditches without blowing out the culverts. So
And blow it out.
they're blowing out the culverts on there as well.
Yeah, blow out the covers to
Let
it.
me piggyback on that. And don't just go for the state.
Yeah.
They go for us too.
Yeah.
We're gonna sweep them ditches. We make sure we got the manpower to blow the covers because the trash is still staying at the mouth of the cover.
Take a shovel, take the first scoop off.
All right, so Ms. Kim, you gonna take care of that for us, please? Thank you. All right, so we're gonna send a letter to the state requesting to dig and blow out the culverts on 1003. We don't need no action on. No approval on that.
Just to make it clear, that's 1003 running
Gravel
from
road.
7, the gravel road.
Running from Highway 70 to Barrows.
What is 1,000 right there?
You going north or south?
Yeah.
1,000.
You run from 70
1,000.
going north.
70 going north, okay, yeah.
Item number 9, discuss levee improvements behind Kirk Blanchard's house. We didn't get the chance to, you did anything over there? All right, let's table that. Let's get
Since we
together.
last spoke.
Okay. All right. Item number 10, discuss levee improvements for Giot Street.
That's what I was able to do an estimate for. See, the project involves hauling dirt to elevate some portions of the levee. It's a match base elevation in 2 locations that didn't need tiger dams for a high water event. It's a viable project to do. We shot elevation and came up with a cost estimate for it.
Was this one of the levees that was shot by DDG in their survey?
Yes,
All right. So, my understanding is that we're supposed to get those results from them to determine what levees were most cost beneficial for us to repair or elevate to what elevations.
When you get that report,
Hmm?
you think they get that report?
I'm just,
Tonight. That's right.
no, we can certainly ask them about it in their update
Yeah, tonight.
down below. I'm just not sure why we're continuing to pick and choose what levies we're doing without following what our plan was to do.
To get them done. I want to get them done.
I understand there's a method to get done, but there are a whole lot of levies there, and we said we're gonna evaluate it on the cost benefit analysis to make sure that we're spending the funds in the best place that we could.
Yeah, Giat Street is definitely, we have to do that one for sure. The rest of, Oak Lane, I thought we was good right there according to the numbers that it was, given to us. We are a little shy in some areas, but I think we could, take some material from the borrow ditch there in the back and cut out the material cost on this. That's what I like to see done. We'll table this to a regular meeting. After we hear the report from DGS. All right?
Motion adjourned.
Yes, we don't have nothing on Curtis Street. All right. Motion to adjourn by Mr. Blanchard.
But you got a deviation?
No, it's the wrong location.
Motion by Mr. Blanchard,
Second.
second by Mr. Carter. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.
All right, we'll call to order the Finance Committee meeting. All members are present. Request approval to pay list of bills submitted through September 20th, 2024. Motion by Mr. Nakam, second by Mr. Carter. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Request approval of budget comparison statements for August 2024.
Budget, comparison reports are in your packets, for your consideration and approval.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion to approve by Mr. Nakam, second by Mr. Carter. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 3, discuss parish-wide recreation allocations. Mr. Nakam.
Yeah, I put that on there. Probably gonna need some funds, actually offer some funds down the road, but, saw Ward 1 with a negative $82,000. That was because of what?
It's litigation, but and
Negative 81,000?
Because of what?
overspending, and then part of that is litigation.
Provide me a report for overspending as pertains to litigation. What do we got? Insurance for, so I don't think that should be I don't think I should be penalized for that.
Or
I
needs
mean,
to
I don't know where
decide.
they came
When a
from.
claim is made on liability from a certain area, the expenses to fight that claim have to be charged somewhere. They're charged back to the area.
This is my first time ever knowing anything about this in 9 years.
No,
that
that's not true.
Anything is being charged back like that, so,
So the biggest part you said was the, insurance claim?
I'm not saying that's the biggest part, but I know that's part of it. There, a picnic table or something collapsed on some individuals.
yeah,
And they filed a claim
yeah.
and.
So where are we at on that?
Whether it's legit or not. we have
Finalized
to
or not?
I think we settled, we have settled.
So-
settle, but there's still costs associated with it. And when we have our renewal of our general liability and policy, there's a
claim on it.
provision on there for past claims. So anytime you had past claims in the last year, your premium is higher going to that claim area.
So like,
If you will, just provide me a report with overspending. So far as the insurance.
so I've got, repairs pending on, FEMA approved for some, repairs to do it, a lot of their ballpark, but we'll see how that goes. And, I may have to ask y'all for some.
You got a cost estimate yet?
It's a process, huh?
You got a cost estimate yet?
I know Brian Blanchard has
And we-
one, probably 40,
We still in email back and forth.
Okay.
yeah, so that's real well. But how you move forward? You keep going to general fund on Ward 1? I mean, how get paid?
General fund.
We want to bring that to everybody's attention, you know, what happens, you know?
We can't.
Huh? Yeah, it's like a business.
It's not fair for everyone else. Get that breakdown for Ron, Kim, and just email it to all of us, please.
Next item, request approval to pay engineering invoice for Attakapaw in the amount of $104,303.58 and identify the funding source.
Because the funding source. Are you looking at it?
Mike, how much you got in your, right?
Maybe 11, 10, 11. I paid for all the third party engineering and
$11,100. You're gonna be in a negative too.
on the third party engineering.
Yeah, because those, once we do those insurance renewals,
That way it
and
comes
claims,
from
it's gonna
there
go
and-
back to that.
So that means if we enter up into any type of litigation, that means it's gonna come from your department, right? That means it's gonna come from your rec funds, all right?
You get the right fund.
Let me finish. If we enter any type of litigation regarding that project, that means it's gonna be charged back to your park. That's my question.
I mean, I paid for everything else out of it, so it.
I'm just asking,
Yeah,
based on
and
what
if
she
we-
said.
And if we
Maybe-
prevail and we receive money back, it
The
also
money comes
gets
back in
credited
my
back to
account.
that.
I'm just asking.
Yeah,
And it also, I mean, it's
You
bringing money
better
in.
come up with some fundraisers, Ron.
I don't have a problem with fundraisers.
Start it.
I'm not short behind that.
You're gonna continue to go down, operating the red. Right, so, still,
Possibility, Ron?
need an answer.
Well, I'll make a motion that we pull it out of what was allocated for drainage. We pulled some out a couple weeks ago to issue something, but tied to that motion, I'd also like the remaining balance of that to be applied to the Brule St. Martin outfall that it was originally intended to go to.
This is not a drainage project.
It's still Gomesa funds. I'm sorry,
Gomesa.
deallocating from the drainage allocation and creating the allocation for Attakapaw Landing.
If you look midway on the Gomesa Bond Issue Construction Fund page, you'll see where we have drainage allocation, $1,992,000. And then underneath it, we deducted from that $2 million allocation for the long range rental. That's what he's talking about, doing something similar.
That's how you know how to go get some money.
Look at the drainage allocation on the second sheet. Midway, you'll see drainage allocation, and if you go over to the middle of the page, it's $1,992,000. It was originally $2 million. If you look at the line below that, we had long reach excavator rental for 1 month we did last meeting. So we deducted that $7,800 rental from that allocation. He's talking about doing the same.
Motion to that effect, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Nakam,
Second.
second by Mr. Carter. All in favor? Opposed?
In that motion, I'd like for it to include that if we get this money back, it goes straight back to that fund.
Automatic.
Yeah, it is, but it just might be.
Yes.
Request approval to accept low bid for fleet fuel from November 1st, 2024 to November 1st, 2025, with an option to extend contractual periods for an additional 4 years and authorize president to sign.
Instead of, an approval, I'm asking the board to reject the bid, due to the bid being an unreasonable bid, and also we only received one bid, for the. fleet.
Do we have a copy of that bid? You know,
It's right here.
Well, that's just a tab.
Yeah.
You do that, Mr. Delabro?
I haven't seen it though. Which tab is that on? Do I have it?
It's not in
I'm
there. It was an
What's the,
extra,
what's the number?
it was a 1%, percent off the purchase price.
We have that sheet.
Extra paper she gave you, it wasn't in the packet.
Yeah,
That's,
I don't have no number. I don't
oh,
have no
no.
number.
It's on there.
Just saying that 1% is
The reason for the rejection is because the current supplier now is cheaper than this bid.
Yeah.
Motion to reject the bid.
Second.
That's enough.
Yeah, second. Second.
So, motion by Mr. Nakam, second by Mr. Alcorn, that we reject this bid. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Discuss task order 1 from Roston Solutions and misstated cost estimate.
Hi there, good afternoon.
Can you give us your name, please, so we can have it?
Travis Mays of Rostam Solutions. I'm a vice president and one of the principal owners of Rostam. I believe we provided you a preliminary budget. I've seen the figure stated at 10% of the estimated debris, hauling costs. We had some communication through email late last week, and I basically said that estimate's low. I provided you with a task order for $100,000. I believe that $100,000 is a maximum not to exceed budget. I ran numbers again this morning. Based on the resources that the debris hauling company DRC is planning on bringing in between the hauling resources and managing the DMS site, I anticipate our monitoring costs are going to run between $4,000 and $5,000 per day. Obviously, our costs are tied intrinsically to the efficiency of the collection operation. So if the operation is done in 5 days, your cost is going to be between $20,000 and $25,000. If it's a 2-week project, obviously, every day we work, the costs are going to continue to be incurred. And we don't really have a whole lot of control over how efficient the collection operation is going to be. And so it's hard for me to give you a precise firm budget when I use the number $100,000 based on the amount of debris that we anticipate to be brought in, based on the resources, based on a 12-hour working day, and based on the number of personnel that we're going to have here on the ground to support that operation and monitor it correctly. I believe that we're going to have a roughly 2 to 3 week project, and our costs are going to be roughly $4,000 to $5,000 a day.
Do you have that breakdown on you?
I have it on my computer. I can email it to you guys if you want.
Now, since all this happened, I think we were looking at doing the whole parish, including state roads. And did it get activated? It did get activated. It got
The
activated.
information I got today this
You
afternoon
got
was
paperwork you gotta do, so the
the
state.
state activated their contract with DRC, so the state will be picking up the state right away, and you're gonna be responsible for, our contractor don't be responsible for parish right away, so you don't have to fool with those right away, so that'll cut probably the quantity down to half, so you. so that-
I would think so, easy.
That's great. I mean,
Yes.
we're here to support you. It doesn't matter to us, at the end of the day, what we're here doing, as long as we're supporting you guys to meet the goals you're trying to meet. So,
And in your cost, it still falls at each 75-25%.
correct.
Reimbursement.
Correct. And the data that we're going to generate is going to be paramount to you getting reimbursed for the hauling costs and our costs at the end of the day. So we'll put together a documentation package for you that's basically going to get turned over to the state and FEMA, and that's going to support your reimbursement effort at the end of the day.
Do we have an estimate from DRC of how long they expect to be on parish roads?
No. Do not. But 2 to 3 weeks probably.
Yeah, it would depend on the amount of trucks.
Yeah, he said, told me 3 trucks on parish right aways. That's three, all self-loaders, 70-yard trucks.
We're going to Ezekiel.
Going Ezekiel.
Okay. Everything?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, but your number, that $100,000 you put in there was not to exceed.
Yeah, to me, I don't think we can reach that number.
Right.
But the last thing that I ever want to do for any client is to give you a half a budget and come back to you in a week and say, we need more money. I just don't like doing business that way.
All right. I mean, we gotta go with it. Motion. Sounds
Motion
good.
floor.
Motion by Mr. Nakam to approve task order number 1 and not to exceed 100,000. Second by Mr. Alcorn. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
All right, I have one deviation for finance. It's related to the extension of relative to permitting. Yes, and for the storm. Sure.
Correct.
Okay,
So,
as it relates to the storm, right?
yes.
All right.
So we
Had
had
a motion to deviate?
So move.
Motion by Mr. Carter, second by Mr. Nakam. Anyone opposed? All right, now we'll deviate.
Okay, in one of the meetings that we had at OEP after the storm the next day, the German I was there and someone on the phone had agreed to waive the fees for any electrical permits caused by the storm, and they said 2 weeks. Tomorrow is gonna be the end of that 2 weeks. We haven't had a permit for rework due to the storm since Monday. We've had several permits since then, but none due to the storm. So I didn't know if y'all wanted to extend it or end it. after
They
the
should have been
storm.
done by now.
Power's been restored. They should have been
It should be,
reconnected
but I just
by
didn't
now.
want
Yeah,
I
we
don't know
good.
of anyone that's not.
Y'all don't know anybody in y'all area that still might be, just asking.
No, we don't.
We had a couple Monday, I just looked, and but since then.
If it comes, we just look at it.
Just ask about it when they do come in, see if it was storm related.
But what do I do if they say yes?
Bring it back to the jury.
Just bring it to the jury.
So they did.
They ain't got no power, they ain't got no power.
I mean, it's.
I would think, yeah, power been restored, so.
So you say cut it off Friday?
It would be like tomorrow will be the last day to get your electrical rework fee waived.
So I suggest that we just let the 2 week expire and they pay for the permit. If they have the pictures to prove that it was related to the storm, then the jury can reconsider and refund their permit fee.
Or just do it one more week if it's storm related. That way he has no trouble. Be easy on justice.
Another week wouldn't hurt.
Right.
All right, I need a motion to that effect.
Motion to extend it another 4 weeks.
Motion by Mr. Alcorn to
Yeah,
extend
next Thursday.
the waiving of the permit fees due to electrical reconnects, electrical reworks for 1 week.
To October 4th. Let's do, put a date on October
Only
4th.
for the storm
Do the
related.
Friday, Jess.
That's it.
Right.
Okay, yeah, do the Friday.
Electrical rework.
Yeah,
for
so a
that.
week from tomorrow.
Motion by Mr. Alcorn,
Second.
second by Mr. Carter. Any public comment related to this item? Second call, last call. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Justin, can
Yes,
you
sir.
put something on the parish website stating that any residents that may still be having problems, with no power and may need a permit from the parish, let them know our deadline or whatever by the end of next
I
week.
mean, the permit can always be pulled before that time, and I mean, you don't have to get the inspection right away.
Can you get a motion to adjourn?
Yes, sir.
Motion by Mr. Nakane to adjourn, second by Mr. Carter. All in favor? Opposed? Meeting adjourned.
It's 5:30. We'll get the personnel committee meeting started. Let the record reflect all members are present. Item number 1, request approval for job title change for APCC maintenance supervisor to equipment operator 3B. Discuss job performance and pay.
You want to go into executive session? Or you want to talk about it later?
It's left to y'all. If y'all wanna go back,
Talk about somebody.
It's up to the employee.
the employee.
What is it?
Mr. Larry. Mr. Larry, would you like to go in the back and discuss it among us jurors in executive session? I'm not on the committee, but
It's your choice if we carry it out in public or in executive session.
You do it here, or you do that?
You need to choose, sir. You need to decide. You need to say if you want to go in executive session or if you want to.
We can go in the back.
Okay, that's fine.
Motion to executive
Motion
session.
by Mr. Nakane, second by Mr. Conley. All in favor? Aye. Mr. Martin, second by Mr. Blanchard. All in favor?
Aye.
Pass. All right. Item number 2, request approval for special program director to serve on the, oh. We approved the, change.
Somebody's gotta make.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Pombeo,
Second.
second by Mr. Carter. All in favor?
Aye.
Hold on, guys.
Tell me what the motion is.
Change in
Has,
pay.
has anything happened
I don't
to
know.
his pay at this point?
No.
No.
You asking me?
Yes, or anybody. Has anything happened to this
No.
man's pay? So no action needs to
No,
take,
no
be
action.
taken at this time. His pay grade and his, payment amount stays the same. As
Set job that.
job title is changed. You need a motion to that effect.
So the grade is staying the same even though the job title is changing, because that's a totally different level.
That's something that I would have to look at, which, that's what I was coming to.
Until you have time to think about it.
Yeah, I thought you talked
Table it
to-
till the next
Table
meeting.
it till the next
As
meeting.
is for now.
Yeah. 'Cause I
Yeah,
dropped the
next meeting.
ball.
There's nothing in his pay rate.
No
so
action.
stay the same.
No action. No action on number 1. Number 2, approve the request of approval of special programs director to serve on the Rural Community Advisory Board and representation of the police jury. Motion by Mr. Narcan. Second. Second by Mr. Blanchard. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passed. Item 3, request approval to end probationary period for equipment operator 1, effective 10/4/24.
I left that paper at my office.
Table.
I have your copy.
Table.
Table number 3. Number 4, request approval to end probationary period for general maintenance worker effective 9/28/24 and increased pay from grade 5, step 9 to grade 5, step 10, effective 10/24.
10-4.
10/4.
Is that normal? Is that right?
That's, yeah, even the other one was right too. I didn't have the paper with their names and everything on it to give to y'all. If we got a table that one too, we'll table it.
Table.
I know who number 4 is.
Yeah, that's, and that's,
You know who number
Table 4.
So you saying they both right, so do you wanna
yeah,
approve both of them or not?
yes, yeah, we can.
You don't know who number 3 is? You know
No,
who the employee is?
I know who number 3 is.
Okay,
Yeah.
But what you don't know.
Do you recommend ending the probationary period for that employee?
Yes, I do.
okay, so I make a motion to approve number 3.
Second. Motion by Mr. Carter, second by Mr. Blanchard, approve number 3.
Aye.
Alright. I also make a motion to approve
Motion
number
passed.
4.
Motion
Do you
to,
recommend number 4 as well?
Yes.
Can we not, we can't, you don't want us to state no names? Ever?
You should have an addendum in your folder and you can just make a
That's the-
motion relative to
okay.
the particular job type.
I have a motion by Mr. Carter for number 4.
Second.
Second by Mr. Blanchard, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passed. 5, request approval for a position change for employee from equipment operator 2 to equipment operator 3, effective 10/4/24.
Yeah, this is another employee, equipment operator. He's proven to be efficient on all the equipment to move up to an operator 3, and, he's doing well. He's creating a lot of production, and I recommend it.
Good.
Motion by Mr. Narcan,
Second.
second by Mr. Carter, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion
How many
passed.
operators we have now here?
Six.
Do you need any more?
I wanna say yeah, but I would need a seat to put him in for something. As in, we could get off on. We had a couple opportunities this past week to have 2 crews out doing drainage work, where we didn't have another machine available. Because Road and Bridge was repairing a road with 1 machine. We were sweeping the ditch with 1 drainage machine, and the other machine was, doing pump work. So that was the 3.
Well, you should be to catch up a little bit since the storm gone.
Yeah, and that was just the only issue that I'm noticing now, is that we're getting to some point where we're doing a lot more. I mean, we're
How many
accomplishing.
machines we got on Ezekiel, the Kubotas?
There's 2 old Kubotas. One is not worthy to put on the road, and the other one would.
It's just so when nobody wants to run it.
No, it's not that. No, it's a safety concern with them too.
See what, get a cost estimate to fix them or less surplus.
Yeah, they're on the surplus list I'm working on.
Motion adjourned.
Second. We have one deviation for
deviation.
personnel. Go ahead, Mike.
Motion to deviate.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Pineville,
Second.
second by Mr. Carter. All in favor?
The personnel committee, I called all of y'all today. We had an employee whose driving privileges, got suspended. And he'll no longer be covered under our insurance. Recommend his termination of employment.
Motion
Motion by Mr. Nakane,
second for the, recommendation of the parish manager.
second by Mr. Pineville.
Public comment.
Any public comment? Once. Twice. 3 times. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passed.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Mr. Pineville,
Second.
second by Mr. Nakane. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Meeting adjourned.
Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and bring, Ms. Tony Folkman Menard forward. She has another engagement. She asked if she could be moved up on the agenda. So, at this time, we'll have item number 11 on our regular agenda heard.
First, I want to thank y'all for taking me early. I have been trying to come here for probably 2 months and, they have a fundraiser set for me at 6 in Gonzales, and I told them they had to wait on me, that I was coming to see y'all first. So, as he said, I'm Tony Felcherman Menard. I'm married to my husband Keith. We have 4 children and we have 3 grandchildren, and we live here. We live in Assumption Parish. And my life started, y'all all know me now and a little bit through high school, but you know, my life started a month before I turned 21. My adult life started when I gave birth to my son. And I was in court and I said, I don't want anyone else to have to go through this. I felt like no one was listening to me, like I wasn't being heard. And I said, I'm gonna go to law school. I don't want anyone else to go through this. And I did. And we'll fast forward 20 years. My biggest accomplishment was raising my son. He was at my college graduation and my law school graduation. But we'll fast forward 20 years now, and I've been practicing law 20 years and an assistant DA 20 years in January. I started off as a criminal prosecutor in Lafourche. Then I moved to Ascension. I represented their boards. I represented their council. And then for about 13 and a half years, I ran Ricky Babin's child support program by myself. In the last 2.5 years, I've worked for all the DAs in the state at the Louisiana District Attorneys Association, where I run their paternity and support programs. I also helped to pass 4 bills before the legislature in the last 2 years. So I'm telling you all this so you know my experience, but I also have life experiences that I want to bring to the bench. I want to bring my life experiences and my professional experience to the bench and represent this parish. We have no judge here right now. When I am elected, I will be housed here. You will have representation here, and we will have a judge here. We have not had a judge here since Judge LeBlanc was on the bench, and it's time we have one from here. And what I hope to bring is consistent judgments and to treat people fairly, equally, and to listen to them. The one thing I can tell you is that I was raised that I'm no better than anyone else, and I do not think I am better than anyone else. And I will treat everyone fairly and equally when they walk through my courtroom. And I look forward to representing Assumption Parish.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Like our regularly scheduled program.
It's after 5:20, so we'll go ahead and be real quick with, the Road and Bridge Committee meeting. Let the record reflect that all members are present. We only have one item on the agenda, discuss the status of LA1 being repaid.
Yes, I put that on the agenda. I know we talked about that on the agenda before, but I haven't heard nothing lately on it. Do we know any updates on it?
I haven't had any updates. I can certainly reach out and see where we are and it getting funded.
Okay.
Start, I can reach out to DOTD for that.
All right, no action on that item.
What's the 308, just real quick, What's that?
Three gonna be on hold till after
After
Friday.
run.
Got anything?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn by Mr. Blanchard. Second by Mr. Pineville, all in favor? All opposed, meeting adjourned.
All right, we gotta call engineer, grant committee meeting order, all record reflect all members are present. We're gonna roll through this committee. Mostly if we got any action items we're gonna discuss. Update from GIS engineering.
Good afternoon, jury. Dwayne Bayon again with GIS Engineering. In regards to the Joe Lamar, Bertrandville, and the the Bell Rose Lane projects, we received the contract from Marietta. We are going to do our due diligence and process that, but we're still waiting on these projects to kick off, right? So once we get the direction from the parish, we'll work with Joseph and execute our phase in that.
So but we should be ready to go out for bid on two of those.
Okay.
Bertrandville and Belrose Lane should
Okay.
both, you have
I will follow
full
up.
go ahead to advertise
Okay.
for bid.
I will follow up on that and let y'all know tomorrow. Or I'll reach out to y'all as far as, some dates and advertisement dates and whatnot, but we're gonna put it on central bidding. As far as the Constant Canal, we're still doing the H&H modeling this week and, running the various required storm scenarios and compare them to the LWI models for the confirmation. Once this is completed, the channel sections can be modeled to find the optimal sections, and this should be completed within the next week or two. Everything else regarding that project duration, contract schedule is still on schedule.
Sure.
To meet those deadlines.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, update from the Planners Design Group, Gerald Street Levy Project, Ring Levees and Pearpoint Bell River. Anybody from the Planners?
Have here, but I'll just give a quick update on the ring levies in Pierport. We did receive the permit a couple days ago. So we're past the permit stage for that.
Well, that's good news. All right. Next item, update from Infinity Engineering and Parish-wide sewer plant improvement projects. Is he on?
Didn't show he called.
Yeah.
It didn't show he called in.
Okay, must be no action. on
The
that.
rate study was
We,
received.
yeah, we have the draft of
There
the
he
rate
is.
study received.
Oh, good. Brian? Brian?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
So I talked to Rhea earlier. She received a draft report of the rate study. So y'all can go ahead and review that and let me know the results. I did receive a letter from OCD this morning. And they have a few deadlines. I forwarded that to Rhea. She wasn't copied on it originally. But I forwarded it to her and there's a few deadlines in there that the parish needs to meet to make sure that they are in compliance with the grant requirements and keep the grant. We're just waiting on a survey so we can lay out the Ewell, Virginia site and modify those drawings. And we're also waiting on some front end documents to add to the bid package. Once all those things are tied up, we can go to bid with the state's permission.
Well, any questions?
Where we at on the survey?
No, the appraisal, I emailed for a follow-up yesterday, he didn't respond. That's what Central appraised.
Any other questions?
How long has it been since how long have we been waiting for the appraisal?
Well, it was supposed to be last week, at the end of the week, he was supposed to get it to me because he got pushed back due to the hurricane.
You mail him every day until he gets to you.
Anything else?
I'd just like to remind that OCD is expecting a letter from the parish by October 15th of an explanation of basically the holdup of why we haven't been able to get this thing in compliance yet. So that's pretty important.
Got that, Rhea?
Yes.
All right, we're on top of that.
That means you'll have to make a decision on the rate study by the next meeting.
All right. Got it today.
I understand.
I know, that's
We
what,
just got that letter today.
get it to us. Anything else, Brian?
That's it.
Thank you, sir. Talk to you next meeting.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Next item, update from the council coordinator. Approval to accept high score for grant administrator for the community development,
Yes, we received,
block grant disaster recovery and mitigation.
we received 2 RFPs. Y'all should have the, an attachment in your packet. ELO's, environmental and grant support. ELO's environmental was the, high score.
All right.
Motion to accept.
So you recommend ELOS Environmental LLC.
Yes, sir.
We have a motion by Mr. Diaz to approve that for the grant administrator for community development block grant. I have a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Blanchard, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries.
Shell Beach, received an email from Mr. Tommy's office. He is waiting on information from the sellers, in order to complete the draft active sale. The rate study, I did forward the email to you all today for y'all to review. What they're proposing is what y'all agreed upon. If y'all can review that and we can get it approved for the next meeting. I received this letter by Infinity. They do have a deadline, that I have to submit to OCD, a explanation of the status of the project, including the estimated timeline, and receive permission to advertise for bids no later than November 15th. So I have to submit the explanation by October 15th, and then the timeline to meet grant conditions and receive permission to advertise for bids no later than November 15th. I think the next meeting is October.
Before the 15th.
Yeah.
Few days.
All right. Anything you need action on?
Well, the biggest holdup is the land, purchase of the land.
Well, not just that, is the rate study that we
Yeah,
just.
we got the rate study, we need, we.
Yeah, but they have to approve it.
Yeah.
They have to approve the rate
rates.
study.
They have to accept.
Then
it.
we can go out.
If they accept it, then they're gonna give us authorization to go.
All right. Anything else? Yeah. Next item, update from South Central Planning Development Commission. 3 items on that, discuss upcoming application for the GAP. Mr. Gordon?
Yes, good evening, Pat Gordon, South Central Planning. I believe that, let's do this instead. Let's start with the spreadsheet. Rayetta, I believe had sent that to y'all. And I wanted to start there because we did make contact with Michael Domang with the State Parks Office. And in fact, I spoke to him several times. And for the Belrose Library Walking Trail that Mr. Blanchard had brought up at the last meeting, it was pretty interesting that they were waiting on DOTD to give the final approval of the environmental review. But then the next, I guess, 2 hours later, Michael Domain called me back and said, oh, it just came in. He said, so we should be issuing a notice to proceed in the next, I don't know when that's gonna happen.
That was completed in March, though.
Huh?
Their environmental review was completed in March.
No, but DOTD had to approve it. Okay, so it was in DOTD's hands, and I understand they're pretty short-handed. So everything's taking a long time with DOTD. So anyway, there could be a notice to proceed on this project soon. That's what he indicated. You've already heard from the regarding the water sector program. The Shell Beach boat launch, still thought we were gonna have the act of sale, but I believe that Rayetta indicated that the attorney is waiting for a couple more items and then he can put the act of sale together and move forward.
You're going to also have, I talked to the attorneys, and I also got a sewer tank, and that probably has to be removed before anything gets moved forward.
Oh, gosh.
So, they know about it,
Yeah.
but it's what I think I have to go.
I think they filled it in, Mark.
I didn't go out and look lately. Let me go see.
So was a phase one done on the property?
Yeah, I'll go around the cat tomorrow, no better, I've been there in a couple of weeks. Got a trailer, the sewer tank went to the property. And you go and check on that.
Oh. All right, and then on the Gilbert Dupani Park, he indicated to me, Michael Domingue indicated to me that the project hasn't even been scored yet. So it's in the scoring process, and once it's scored and it competes against the other applications that are out throughout the state, that they'll let us know how it ranks. Now, as I indicated to y'all before, because Assumption Parish has 4 outstanding trail grants already, that somewhat works against you in getting additional grants. So the sooner we can close out some of the other grants, trail grants, the sooner we can fund others. So that was his suggestion to us, was that we're gonna have to just wait until the scoring is done.
So when do you think the scoring may take place?
He didn't,
don't know.
he didn't indicate any time frame to me. And I did ask that question. He said he didn't know.
There's a couple of things by the end of the year, if something don't be in a move based off these grants that we're applying and we're not really hearing things back, or we don't know what's what, I may just take my name out of the hat, use my funds, what I got, because I'm not gonna lose it or keep it all the way until June of next year and then gotta ask for an extension. I'm gonna use what I got, build what I can build and move
How
forward.
you gonna pay for it?
I got money.
You broke.
I got money. I got 600,000,
And
dude.
you had capital outlay, don't you?
No, I got direct allocation.
You owe that to the parish.
You ain't getting that.
Well, I'm gonna keep.
I'm just saying, you know what I mean? I mean,
But I'm gonna
we've
call.
been working on land and water for over a year and a
This
half.
isn't land and water.
No, I'm just saying, land and
Oh, no,
water is one
land
of
and
them.
water, yes.
Right,
Okay.
along with recreational trails, right?
Yes, sir.
So I understand things take time, but I still have that direct allocation and, you know, I'm gonna use it. I'm not gonna keep it tied up.
Okay, and as far as the resilient communities infrastructure project, I think Paul might be talking about that later, I'm not sure. But waiting on the architect, Abear from that was Brett Paul?
That is correct, yes, sir.
Yeah, and so Leanne in our office has been working with Paul on that. And also the good news is that Maria from the community center has submitted estimates for the energy grant, and we're preparing the application right now, and I'm hoping that we have it prepared for the next police jury meeting. So that is the status of the projects on our spreadsheet. The next item, the LAGAP funding. I believe that y'all had indicated at the last meeting that Public Works was interested in getting more equipment, 2 trucks. There was some discussion about that. I don't know if you want to continue with that decision or that thought process. And maybe you'd want to hear again from your Public Works people. But certainly we could put together an application for the LGAP for the upcoming fiscal year for a couple more vehicles, similar to what was applied for last year.
When's the deadline for that?
Well, it begins November 1st and the portal opens, but it goes all the way into February. Yeah. Into February. In fact, I think y'all applied, it was towards the end of February.
Yes.
We'll try to have something come up in the month of October.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have some time to think about it, but it was on the agenda. And if you'd like us to start on it early, we can. On the capital outlay, the request was to submit a list of all the capital projects that were submitted last year. What I did was I made a copy of everything that had activity in it last year. I think Rayetta had emailed that information to you. And there was 10 projects last year that were
put into the system. The year before was, I think, 11, and then the year before that was 3. Again, 3, maybe 4. So the activity in capital outlay really increased over the past 2 years, going from 3 projects, 4 projects, and all of a sudden up to 10, 11 projects. So you may want to look at the projects that you currently have and just move them forward to the next fiscal year for the legislative approval of which projects need to be looked at. But one in particular was the 911 call center that wasn't funded, and the grant part was not funded. So I don't know if y'all want to continue with those 2 and put it into the hopper for next year, but we could certainly, all you have to do is copy and paste to the next fiscal year. And if you have any new projects, we can certainly start that preparation. But as Kim mentioned at the last meeting, that has to be done pretty soon, because we're going to need some probably engineering preliminary estimates of the cost of the construction.
So, Mr. Pat, so right now you're saying that the 911 call center in Grant Park is only in the queue on the state side in a priority 5.
Yes, sir.
So what happened to all these other 9 that you're talking about?
Some of these projects are.
You also have projects in here that have got direct allocations from the general fund that is not part of capital outlay. So that should not be in.
I'm just showing you what's on the capital outlay portal that is from the state. So if that's not supposed to be in there, maybe we need to take them out. But as I had indicated at the last meeting, the priority 1 projects from last year were pumps and drainage, planning construction, 470,000. Plantonville drainage improvements was priority 1, $1.7 million. And then partial funding to Lee Drive repaving, 286,000. And then the Pierre Park River Museum, but that was, y'all applied for that too. Pierre Park River Museum, but that was priority 5. So I don't know if you want to resubmit the museum either.
Didn't Veteran Park get 300,000?
That's not ours.
That's not ours though.
I know.
That's not ours.
But actually, this is from the state. They're showing it is yours. It just shows that it's the parish.
Yeah, but it's showing that last 200 and something thousand portion that you got.
It's not fully closed out yet.
Y'all didn't close it out yet? So what they got
Said
left
it's
on?
not closed out yet. They're not a villas.
Well, you got till June to just do what you got to do.
I checked with her, but when we talked about it last week, she said Lee Drive is not closed out yet.
Let's go through the list. I mean, the 911 call center, is it something that the police jury wants to consider moving forward?
Well, it is, but we're kind of working on doing a combined EOC 911 call center.
Okay.
And I don't know that we're ready to submit that for a capital outlay at this time.
The problem with just taking those and resubmitting is the cost estimates are gonna be nowhere near accurate. So our funding requests are not gonna be right, especially if the storage change.
All right, I'll follow you. Okay, so maybe we shouldn't move it forward.
No, I would say now, not now for that.
No. So what about Assumption Parish elevation and paving of Bayou? What's that? Yes. Has that been completed already?
They've never been touched.
Never been touched. You could lead down.
We had submitted some of the projects from our drainage master plan to capital outlay to see if they could get funded. That's where that.
So we should leave that project in
Yes.
and move it forward, okay?
You can leave Grant Park in there too.
Okay, let's leave Grant Park. Monterey Park, now, is that one that we want to move forward also? Okay, Shell Beach boat launch, that's already taken place. Plantville drainage, that's already, in the works. The Assumption Parish pumps and
Yeah, you gonna put your
drainage,
park in there, Big Daddy?
that's already in place.
That's 100% funded.
Yes.
That's a priority one.
Yes,
The
that's
pumps,
correct.
The pumps.
That's why I say, you don't have to resubmit the priority ones, okay? I'm just showing you, going through the list of activity from last year. And, Lee Drive repaving, planning, I think that's already. And, Belrose Lane, street and drainage, that has already been done. Is that correct?
Yeah, we don't have to resubmit that one. We have an alternate funding source.
Okay, so the only two at this time would be the Bayou Crane and Grant, Park.
How many are we gonna submit?
Well, realize that all these projects stay in the queue. But capital outlay does suggest that you resubmit those projects that you have, some priority with. So, I don't know if y'all want to take off the ones that have been funded. I'm just gonna leave them in there. And I was gonna move
There's
forward
updates on them.
the other two, that's all.
That Murray Park.
Yeah, I have.
Can we submit any more?
As it pertains to the 911 center and Grant Park, they're already in the queue. They're gonna just continue to go up until you get your funding. So yeah, you leave them.
Well, we made the 911 center, we'll probably know more in a couple of weeks if we can maybe just submit for some PED dollars for that one and not the full project, just to get us kicked off. That might be the way to go for that one.
Okay, I can do that.
And we
Just
can
put
get
it
an estimate
slash
for that.
911 center slash EOC.
Because
Okay.
I would like to submit for the pavilion at Veterans Park. We could. We've got probably. Because it will be utilized as a center, a distribution center for sandbags and so forth. Commodities as well.
Oh, that was already done. Okay.
You have any estimates?
Yeah. I could get them for you.
Okay. All right, that'd be great.
Tap grant applications.
Excuse me?
Next item.
Okay,
Just for
well,
application on the alternative program. Cassie.
yeah. Okay, this is Cassie Parker.
Good afternoon.
She's in our MPO. And so y'all don't need a motion or anything to have me go forward with what I just described? Yeah,
We're gonna need something, yeah, because you're gonna need a resolution to attach to that.
yeah.
But can you get that together first? Get that an actual
I can do a
document with the names?
resolution
And
for the
then,
next meeting if you like.
yes,
I'll do that.
yes.
Okay.
That way we actually have it in paper.
Yes,
In front
that's
of us.
fine. I didn't know if you want to do a motion or,
We got a motion to include the pavilion at Veterans Park.
You'll put it on that list
I
and
wrote
then
it
we'll
down.
approve that
Yeah.
list next meeting.
yes, sir.
And hopefully you'll have your process.
Go ahead, Ms. Cassie.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am here, the police jury has retained South Central to complete transportation alternative program applications. And in order to complete the remainder of the applications, there were 2 locations that we did not receive any site plans for or cost estimates. So we would need the police jury to hire, an engineer for those parts of the application. Unfortunately, it is not a reimbursable cost. It would be 100% funded by the police jury to put together a project description, cost estimates, and a site plan. And there's 2 or 3 questions pertaining to right of way, but they're yes or no questions. But in order to complete Highway 400 Maria sorry, Park, and the back Mare sidewalks and Bertrandville sidewalks are the 2 proposed projects that would need those cost estimates, project descriptions, and the information pertaining to the right of way.
Did both sidewalks?
Yes, sir.
Is the intent of the future maintenance for these sidewalks to be covered out of the road fund?
Could be, it's part of transportation.
Okay, I just want to make sure not general fund.
Yeah, it could be
We
part
had
of transportation.
discussed that whenever we got awarded the last.
So there's 2 projects that was funded 996, that's 998.
They were awarded.
They're
They're not
awarded,
funded.
they're awarded, and what it is, 10 or what?
403.
403, right? So
Yes, sir.
where are with those two?
So are you referring to the ones that were funded in 2023, the Bell Rose sidewalks as well as the, Highway 403 sidewalks? Both of them are waiting, I've been in communications with the Department of Transportation, new project manager, and they're waiting on state funding. So we're just waiting on the state to get that funding in order to proceed with those two projects that were funded.
Second question is, correct me if I'm wrong, there's another funding cycle in 2025.
Correct.
And we already have projects that did not make the first cut, should be able to make the second cut, and you have all the information, correct? Correct?
You are partly, two of those projects that are supposed to be submitted for 2025 are the projects that need the estimates. These are not new projects. These were part of that contract.
So that's one that you're forgetting about. Because that was, it was the Dag Street.
That's on the
Where-
list, but we received the site plans. That's being worked on for 2025. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. The other ones, we received site plans and cost estimates for the other projects, and those projects are the Gilbert, I apologize if I butcher it, Debati Park, the Highway 1003 sidewalks, and Highway 662 sidewalks, if time allows, is in the contract. But we have received the cost estimates, project description, and information from the engineer for those. The only two we did not receive were for the Highway 400 sidewalks as well as the Bertrandville sidewalks.
Yeah, I see. And Rayetta, correct me if I'm wrong, but the contract that you're referring to, have y'all not billed us 100% on that? Rayetta, didn't we have discussion about that? Yeah, y'all had some communication when you sent to Pat saying that they had already used all their funding that the jury approved. So if they were gonna do additional applications, we needed to have additional funding approved.
Is that $15,000?
Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
remember that.
Yes,
Yeah, I remember.
they
that.
fully expended that, so we have no additional funds allocated to move on.
They did,
Yes.
because we never closed out, we never finished with the land and water, application,
TAP.
and that was the $15,000 allocation was for a pool of grains. And the land and water conservation, the one that's pertaining to the Batty Park, we haven't closed this out, so how we paying them full? They're still working on that.
We'll have to check, but I was pretty sure that it was the LaTap ones we were referring to, that they billed 100% for LaTap. We'll follow up on that. Check your emails. I thought Pat, you don't remember communication about that?
All right, so
15,000 we quit.
what you need from us, you asking them.
But that was an agreement.
Approve an engineer.
Y'all have to hire an engineer in order to provide those portions of the application, which is the site plan, a project description with phases if needed, cost estimates, and again, I believe it's 2 or 3 yes or no questions pertaining to, is this on the state right of way type question? And just in addition, that I would strongly encourage that engineer to have some type of knowledge of the DOTD line items, the Department of Transportation and Development line items for cost estimates, because they all need to be.
We need to find out where that fund is coming from.
Come from road, it could come from road and bridge if we choose to go that direction, because the sidewalks is a part of transportation for
So
people.
it'll come out of your road funds?
To come out the parish road.
Come out of your road funds?
No,
All right, so we need a motion.
I think
How y'all
we-
going about going with the engineering firm? Advertise? I don't.
Yeah, the parish would have to get some quotes or estimates or
So
something.
y'all wanna
or
move forward with
Develop a
those two
scope of work,
projects?
if you wanna move forward with the
y'all wanna
project.
move forward with those two projects?
I think,
That's
if
all.
I'm not mistaken, I think Joseph has started working on all that. I'm almost sure that he got the information for that. He should have had it. But that's what we're- He's here?
Did you do any work on Highway 400 and the Myray sidewalk?
Not on the
not on the 400 and Monterey sidewalks, but we did on, Grant Park and the others.
Yes.
We had provided estimates and a preliminary layout plan, because at that time, that was all that was required.
Bertrandville one, what did you do on that one?
On Bertrandville? Some time has passed. I really need to go back and look. I don't know that we did much as far as sidewalks on the Bertrandville plan.
Okay.
We did at one time, we had discussed on Bertrandville running a sidewalk along LA one, connecting the churches to the thing, but there was nothing as far as down in the community of the Bertrandville. There was an estimate at one time that was running, like I said, along LA one from around Jacob Street to past all of the churches.
You need action tonight on it? You need action tonight?
It's completely, I will say that the next round, they have not put out a call for projects, but it is expected early, like January. So as soon as we can get those site plans, we can prepare the application and have it ready to go for signatures.
Can I ask, are they only requesting like a site plan and layout with a itemized cost estimate?
So it's the same thing. You may have forgotten, but you actually did provide us with project descriptions as well. It was kind of after, but you did, and you helped us answer those questions on the application. So
On all
yes,
of the
you provided
sidewalks?
everything else
He
for them.
provided, this was on all of the sidewalks, he provided this information?
It was on the two that were awarded and the two that are in queue.
Right, he provided
That's
the
4 out of
info.
5.
On the previous ones, yes, sir.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He provided 5 of the 7. 5 of the 7 projects received. We have the information. It's just the 2 of the 7 that we need.
Provided a cost estimate for the next meeting.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you, Seth.
But that's all that's needed. It's not. Yes, sir.
For 400 Dagmar, you can get the cost estimate on that?
You're talking about that's one of the 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that is.
Highway 400 sidewalks and
I'll
Monterey sidewalks.
I'll itemize them out,
Okay.
splitting the 2 of them.
Thank you.
No
We'll,
problem.
we'll take that. Anything else, y'all? All right, update on Ag Center roof project. Aaron? Or Joseph?
Okay. We received bids. The 2 bids that we received 2 bids, one from Coleman Roofing in the amount of $240,000, and then another one from Sage Construction in the amount of $325,227.98. I did a cost analysis and breakdown of both of these bids. There are some issues with the Coleman roof bid, the lower bid of the 240 that was submitted, as his unit prices, according to the breakdown, only come up to $179,000. Additionally, this is over the estimated budget. We originally had a set budget of $90,000 for the changing of this roof, and that included the actual roof square footage is 3,884 square feet. Typically, we allow, in the budget, we allowed $40,000 for a $10 a square foot for removal of the roof, and then another $10 a square foot for replacement of the roof. That brought it to $80,000. Then we allowed $10,000 for the additional steel framing that was relied. That's how we came across the $90,000 budget, which was well in what we were seeing for changing those roofs. As the project progressed and we worked with, at the time it was Mr. Blankenship, it was decided, since we had to rebid, and if you recall, the previous contractor went belly up. He had given us a price. The bid price was around $70,000 that he had submitted. He then, during the project, defaulted. So we re-advertised. When we re-advertised, we added into the project changing of the lights in the facility and doing some HVAC upgrades. With that, it would have brought the project to around $120,000 to $130,000 budget, which is what we were expecting. I can tell you from the analysis, they're looking at, if just going on face value of the low bid written of $240,000, that's $61.79 a roof square foot. That is, in my opinion, extremely high. The second bidder in this case is up to $82.75 a square foot. When you actually look at floor square footage under roof, as though we were constructing this building new, this building is only 2,360 square feet of floor square footage, 1,700 square feet under AC. I mean, that's right at $136 a square foot. I could, it's a cinder block building, gentlemen. I'm not trying to tell you what to do here, but there's one of two recommendations, and that is, one, we can table this till we can further analyze and try to see where this is, but where we're standing now, in looking at these budget numbers, I can only stand before you and recommend that we reject these bids, all of them, and we will have to re-look at this scope and see where we can make some reductions and cuts. Unless you all are prepared to move forward at $240,000, even at which we still have some issues.
Under the budget for it. Was that?
Motion to reject.
Motion to reject bids for now. Motion to reject the bids. Mike,
$100,000?
who seconded it?
Jeff,
Charles, huh?
what you had, they had $100,000 for it?
Nine.
Reject.
Yeah, I know. Motion made by Mike, seconded by Charles, all in favor?
Just note that it's rejected for the purposes of exceeding the engineer's cost estimate.
Right. Purpose is because exceeding the cost estimates from the engineer.
Right.
Exceeding the cost estimates. All right.
With that, gentlemen, the only other thing I ask is that if you would, previously we were working with Mr. Blankenship. I would like to have some point of contact we need to relook at this, and obviously we need to set a new budget. We will go through and see where we can make these cuts, and of course, I'll come back with some recommendations. I just need to know who all you want me to contact with regards on the parish side for those discussions.
Manager.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Update on courthouse renovation projects.
We still waiting on the report from the inspection company. It
No
should,
action.
at this point, it should be another week, because it's gonna be 3.
Good deal. Update on revised listing of fire department priorities relative to fire hydrants.
As per our last meeting, we did place an advertisement in the paper, and the project is out for bids for November 5th.
Thank you. Good. Update on tax Paul Landing project. If we heard on that, no action. Discuss funding source.
Are we ready to take that off?
Yeah, I think so.
Things keep popping up, guys. If you just leave it on just for now, I would appreciate it.
Discuss funding source for engineering assistance for hazardous mitigation grant.
That was from last week. That was discussed already. That was finalized. That should have been on the agenda.
All right, that's all. Discuss update to RFQ policy for miscellaneous projects.
Yeah, I will just make a motion that the parish attorney seek an opinion from the ethics board. Just seeking jury approval that we seek that.
And do you want to speak to the adjustments to the particular area of the policy manual that I need to request information on? I think the adjustment is, gentlemen, to add different supplemental members to the review committee. And so the issue that was expressed was whether or not the police jurors could sit on the RFQ panel. So that is what I'm going to be requesting information from as it relates to the ethics board. So everybody's clear on that?
Yes.
And I have the directive to move forward.
Yes, second this motion.
Yeah. It's just an update. All right. Next item, hurricane recovery, discuss hazard mitigation grants. I think I'll put that on there. I guess I was mostly concerned about, the public assistance side of what we get through through FEMA. And I know, Rostan had a conversation with Leroy and Ryan briefly. You know, I mean, there's some opportunities out there, and if y'all like, just give a few minutes and just tell the jury what's out there on the public assistance side that we can look at, since we, are we cat A and B?
All
Yeah, C and D too, huh? We got C and
We
D.
got C and D,
See through the.
Except Z. Everything has been approved except Z.
except.
Now we can take care of our parks, right?
So anyway, just briefly, we're running behind, but just.
No, sure, I'll just be really quick, and then of course, I'm available to meet with you guys, like, you know, later or whatever, if we want to talk in more depth details. But yeah, just talking about Cat A, Cat B, really just having an expert come in and help you guys work through the things that I know you're already overloaded with. You know, I know that you have internal staff doing those things when it comes to force account labor, when it comes to any of your reimbursements that you're eligible for. You will have hazard mitigation dollars that will be coming in from Francine. So new projects will be available to you guys, and just working through your priorities, how you want to spend that, how you want to use that. So I just really advise like getting a consulting firm on board with you to start working through, specifically Francine, so we can, you know, jump in, or they can jump in and start working through those things to make sure you guys are seeking full reimbursement. Because I know like your office staff works so hard, but they're not, they also have 4, 5, 6 other jobs that they're doing at the same time. So being able to go back and forth with FEMA, being able to dive into those things and seeing what the exceptions are, and, you know, extra pots of money and alternate projects and things like that are not things that they are used to doing. So being able to get an expert on board that is dealing with that every single day, is going to just be really beneficial to you guys. So. I know that we sent over an exigent contract, and I did send over just some language just explaining, I know there were probably some concerns about that being reimbursable. But I did send over some language that you guys can look through that's just straight from FEMA talking about, how that can be reimbursable.
You know, like I have a couple of roads that got damaged from heavy trucks going, you know, picking up material and stuff like that. You know, we got to, you know, I hope clean that up for him.
Yeah, I mean, like, that would just be looking at different dollars and things like that, damages that you guys have, making sure you put them in the pot. And also to working with your insurance and seeing, you know, making sure that you're getting the full reimbursement for that. And then also just really seeking out that money that would be available because of the disaster.
The roads specifically, they are potentially a reimbursable expense. The difficulty you have with that type of infrastructure is you need to be able to show a pre-event condition of it. And what FEMA typically does is they go back and look at Google imagery, satellite imagery, and if they can pick out potholes in roads or sloughing off, and those types of
Because I
things.
know like one area I have where the telephone people stayed for a while and not blaming them because they had to do their job, but now my road is all tore up because of their traffic.
Yeah, I completely understand it. Your fight, if you want to pursue that, your fight is gonna be to establish the pre-event condition of that road.
You gotta be storm related.
If you can't.
It is storm related, you know.
But you gotta prove it.
Yeah, if you can't show that, there's a high likelihood, especially when you're talking about surficial damage, asphalt, there's a high likelihood they're gonna.
I'm gonna start taking pay before y'all start, so after y'all finish.
We'll get more information, but we're good.
Yeah, and I can send that information out though, just like to the whole jury if you guys are interested in seeing it, so that you can kind of,
There's some possibilities.
absolutely,
If we
yeah.
get any kind of funding, any way.
How has the reimbursement rates changed, or still 75?
35, 25.
So this is if we would expect for this contract to be paid 25% from FEMA.
No, for our fees, no.
It's probably gonna stay at 75, just because of the size of the event.
But our
You're
5%,
talking about,
yeah.
well, so Paul mentioned category Z. Category Z is the administrative bucket that sits at the back end of all of the other categories, and FEMA allocates a 5% total project cost to category Z. That 5% funding mechanism is usually what goes to help cover consulting costs to support, you know, your reimbursement effort, the categories A through G programs, and those types of things. It's a discussion worth having. An event of this size, there's probably not a huge need for a full-scale, support effort. But there probably is worth having a conversation to look at, I've heard a lot of discussions about grants in the room tonight. The mitigation opportunities that are out there, and the Fed's been putting out several $1 billion in grant opportunities, and I think we just got a grant in New Jersey awarded for $40 million and another one here, right, in Louisiana for another $10 million in FMA. So it's probably worth the discussion to have a few people from our mitigation team just sit down and talk to you about, hey, this is what's potentially out there. Maybe there's some ways to look at it. Obviously, we talked about when the process is open, when applications have to be submitted, those types of things, but it's probably worth having that discussion at some point.
And I know we'll be seeking some, HMGP funds even from IDA that's still in the competitive round. It'd be advantageous for us to have somebody that can build an application packet that,
For sure.
that can be bulletproof, basically.
Yeah, and one thing I found, like, last, I guess it was earlier this year, we submitted an application for the city of Savannah, Georgia. It was the third time this application got submitted. We got brought in after the first two times that application didn't get awarded. And we made some small changes to it. And it got awarded, and it was a $30 million drainage improvement project, and it was a big deal. The FEMA administrator came down there. It was in a disadvantaged neighborhood, and it's a project that's gonna take, 4 or 5 years, but just because a project isn't feasible right out of the gate doesn't mean that, hey, this can't be something that can't make it into the next round, or 2 years from now, or 3 years from now. It just kind of depends on who you're competing against at that time, what kind of projects they got in the queue, and there's a high likelihood if it's seen enough times and it's a good project, it'll eventually get funded.
Right. Good, right, exactly. I know after you got a Hurricane Helene fixing to hit tomorrow night. So there's a possibility that they might show up money from that combined with Francine for some other grant opportunities. What was the grant we built this building with? Gustav, yeah.
Yeah, the HMGP program is kind of event specific. And so they treat each event independently, and they allocate, I think it's 15% of the total event cost back into mitigation programs. And those are event specific mitigation dollars. And then FEMA has annual programs, the FMA program, and I forget the name of the other one. I'm sorry, I'm not a mitigation expert, but they have annual programs that you can submit competitive applications.
Some gap funding.
Yeah.
It was the gap funding that we ended up building.
Yeah,
A couple of facilities.
exactly.
Because we gonna have if that money does come available, we ought to have a prime candidate for possibly a new multiplex building, such as our 100-year-old courthouse. I mean, I think that'd be a viable project for a courthouse, assessor's office.
Can't forget the assessor.
911,
Yeah.
so, I mean,
Multi-use,
we're operating out of some old stuff, so whenever that happens, we definitely have to pursue that.
Yeah.
And we did it, we built a community center, we built this, we just got an old building that's probably not hurricane worthy.
Not very useful.
So I think it's a very good sellable project down the road, but we just gotta have opportunities for it, so anyway, that's good. We just want to get, something.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other, business?
Motion adjourned.
Motion adjourned by Mr. Blanket. Second, Mr. Burrow, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
We'll get our, Wednesday, September 25th, regular meeting of the police jury called to order. Let the record reflect all jurors are present. We'll leave with our prayer and then followed by our pledge. God, who teaches us by sending the light of the Holy Spirit into our hearts, grant that by the light of that Spirit, right judgment may be ours, and that we may ever find joy in his guidance. Amen.
Pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any corrections to be made to the September 18th minutes?
So move.
Hearing no corrections, I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes. Motion by Mr. Alcorn, second by Mr. Carter. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment period. This time we take public comment for any item on the agenda. Second call, last call. Gentlemen, we have a couple items down here that have some attendees in the audience. I'd like to move those up before we get through our committee reports. And if they want to stick around to hear those, they're welcome to it. So at this time, I'd like to hear discussion on industrial tax exemption law changes. We have our assessor,
Blanchard.
Wayne Blanchard, and assessor Tab Trostclair.
Thank y'all for having us.
Welcome.
Leroy, you had a couple of questions
I did.
last time. Tab's the expert on this. As y'all noticed, we got only 40 million on exemptions. St. Charles has
1 billion.
$1 billion in industrial tax exemptions. That's why Tab's the expert on this, and he represents the association when we talk about the laws and the rule changes and stuff. So he's gonna give y'all just a little insight of what goes on.
All right, thank you, members of the police jury. Appreciate y'all inviting me out this evening as your assessor said. My name is Tab Troxler. I'm the assessor in St. Charles Parish, former past president of Louisiana Assessors Association, and I'm on the Industrial Tax Exemption Committee for the association. I do presentations like this one when necessary. As your assessor has mentioned, there were some questions concerning the changes to the industrial tax exemption program. And he kind of basically asked me to do a quick brief, and I think I've got this down in my mind that I can do this fairly quickly. What I would tell you is that the Louisiana Constitution allows for manufacturing exemptions. That provision has been in the Constitution now for nearly 100 years. And that nothing there within the Constitution nor law has actually changed. The mechanics of that process in issuing an industrial tax exemption or manufacturing exemption, there are several components, but the one that's been changed here recently and changed in several different ways is the governor's pen. The manufacturing exemptions require the governor's signatures or signature. And back in 2016, then Governor Edwards had put forth an executive order. And basically, that executive order said a couple of things would have to happen in order for a taxpayer who was seeking this exemption to get the governor's signature. One, it had to create jobs. If it didn't create a job and you couldn't put information forth that it would create jobs, then you wouldn't get the governor's signature and thus you wouldn't get the exemption. No longer would the exemption be 100%. And under the law, there's basically 2 5 years. A lot of times we refer to as a 10-year tax exemption, but actually by law, it's 5 years and 5 years. And you could get up to 100%. Then Governor Edwards, at that point in his executive order, said the greatest amount that could be received by taxpayers, 80%. And then the last provision, which is probably most important to this body, is that the governor also said that a taxpayer who was seeking this exemption would need the approval of 3 local organizations within our parish governments, that being you, the governing authority of a parish, the sheriff, and the school board. And further, that those different bodies could even change the allotment of or the percentages, so long as that they didn't grant above 80%. Fast forward to where we are today, and thus the questions by the jury in terms of what changes they've made. Governor Landry has come in and has made some changes that have some subtle, but in some cases, some significant changes to it. So let's start off. The governor did retain the 80-20. So the most you can get is 80% exemption. And he kept that with the exception of mega projects, which the applicant can then get up to 93%. The other change, which I have personally seen in my own parish is fairly significant, is that there's no requirements for jobs anymore. And the reason why that is significant is there's a term called miscellaneous capital addition. These are smaller projects that are typically bundled together for an applicant to get industrial tax exemption. By not having a provision that creates jobs, a lot of these things would not be able to be considered, and they have not been considered over the last 8 years. With the removal of the job requirement, now we're seeing applicants come forth and bundling these projects back together. And I'll give you an impact of that. We just had an outside group come in and review our tax roll for the industrial tax exemptions. As Mr. Blanchard said here, we have right about $1 billion in industrial tax exemptions. And the review basically showed that in St. Charles Parish, prior to Governor Edwards' changes, we were basically getting about 27 cents on a dollar in terms of tax revenue from those industries. When those policies were put in place, which eliminated miscellaneous capital addition, for example, we've actually collected about 67 cents on the dollar. So it's been very significant. And I can tell you our tax roll has grown at about 44%. It's very significant. In fact, I've come over here and met your assessor several times and, talked through some of this. So anyway, that's a significant change that the jobs requirements is gone. And basically, it would allow for more tax exemptions or the ability for the applicant to apply for more things. And the last one is fairly significant concerning this body, which is that while the governor seeks your input, it's not a requirement for his signature. So governor still wants the input of the police jury or the governing authority of a parish. Still like to have the input of the sheriff, would still like to have the input of the school board, but he's making it clear in executive order that's non-binding. Whereas previously it was a binding agreement. In other words, if this body decided against it, then it could not go.
How is that now? Can the police jury accept it and the school board reject it? Does it get rejected? Do all have to agree?
No, not any longer. It's simply input. Y'all have input. It's no different than this body passing a resolution saying, Governor, we're in favor or against it. And it's going to be, the decision's going to be made at the governor's office as to what's going to happen. You still have input, but he has not made that a requirement. Previously, the previous governor had that as a requirement. Your approval were required. He made his own rules that it was required that his signature would not go in a document without your expressive approval.
Is
So now it's input.
Is it part of the procedure where he seeks our input, or do we have to force our input?
You're gonna have to, as a part of the process, you can, there's a time period. You can either provide input or don't say anything.
How will we know if a project is requesting an exemption?
Well, the assessor will get notified. You've got LED that gets notified. So those projects are out there. Under the past thing, you're right, the mechanics have changed because the taxpayer themselves would have to come before you. Now that's not necessary. It's out there. You can have input on it, but again, it's not a requirement. Where in the past, as a taxpayer, you'd have to come and request that exemption. So some subtle changes, but it has large impacts. And something that the assessor associations, monitor very carefully. Obviously, we want fair taxation. We want to make sure that these things are considered, and we're providing information to the governor's office and to the House of Representatives, to the senators, to make sure they're aware of the changes and the potential outcomes of this.
All right. So I guess if you get any requests, will you forward those to us?
That's correct.
We don't,
Yes.
When was the last time you had a request, okay?
I'm sorry.
When was the last time you had a request?
I don't recall.
And not a lot of, this is the real heavy industrial, parishes, get these things more routinely, but it's possible that you disappear.
Cause y'all can see they got a couple of them on what I gave y'all. Some are gonna be coming off. That would be correct, right?
Yeah.
Export.
Yeah.
The date, see, it started in 15, the last one, for example, Lad Salvage.
The exemption started in 15, it ends in 25. So it's actually a 10-year exemption when, you know, they say it's 5 years, but they reapply and.
So how has it been in other parishes regarding, solar projects?
Well,
Are
the
they
solar,
eligible for
um,
an exemption?
no, it's not manufacturing. And, but there's the big question that's still out there is how do we assess that value? What is the value of solar panels? And what becomes the value of land? Because obviously the use of the land has changed. Typically what we're seeing is agriculture, which is very low value by state law, not by choice. And that's being now put into a like an industrial use basically. And so there's still some questions around that. We've reviewed a couple projects where I am, but I'm not as expert on that. I could talk about industrial stuff all day, but that is still a little bit undetermined as to how we handle solar. I mean, it's being done because they have it, but.
And does the land use value change?
Correct.
You know, that's a big deal.
There, Mr. Blanchard, if you think about it, Washington Parish has them all over. Used to be a big a lot of dairy farms. They have solar panels all over.
Yeah,
Check
there's
and
nothing
see.
very attractive about it.
Right.
You know.
Right, so
It's not something
maybe,
people gonna see.
they may be assessing, trying to see what the value is as pertains to those solar farms.
Yeah,
You
they're
might have some.
definitely being assessed. If you have them, you have to assess them, but there's still a great deal of discussion about what's the fair market value, some of those other different things. This is somewhat new to us. It's still being worked out. And when I say that, it's not just our discussion, it's what works out in court, what works out in front of the tax commission, what works out in front of the board of review, which I'm sure you've recently gone through, just to see how those things stand. So
Just like the gas recovery they talking about,
that's another one.
you know, just like the gas recovery they talking about. Does that change the value of the land? You know, it's sugarcane, but now it's being used for not storage, but more disposal. So the question now is, does that change? So, I mean, this is a moving target and a lot of thought goes into it.
Who's gonna determine that, Ken?
Probably the tax commission or the legislature.
Right.
More the legislature, I'm sure.
I'll just add this is when I come out and do public talks, one of the things I'll tell you, this is for the greater good of all Louisiana. I am a big advocate of not having exemptions, period, and drive down till you get to the lowest possible tax rate. If I give one company an exemption, that means the rest of the taxpayers in Assumption Parish are paying for that exemption.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I have been a big proponent. I speak all over the state, the legislature, and I just spoke to Society of CPAs a while back, and the Revenue Secretary was there. He knows my thoughts on this, but I think if we want to make Louisiana competitive, to me personally, we need to move away from the exemptions and just get to the lowest possible tax rate, because when we get the lowest possible tax rate, the residents get that tax rate, the small business gets that tax rate, big business gets that tax rate.
I agree.
It's a positive thing. So to the extent where you can use your political will and testimony, I think that's something that we need to stand side by side, and I think that's where Louisiana needs to get to.
So what he's talking about is a lot more value and a lot less millage.
Right.
Right.
Understood.
And you still come up with a decent number at the end.
Makes sense.
Any questions?
I appreciate it.
And thank y'all for having us, and I appreciate you, Tab,
No
coming.
problem.
He
Anytime.
missed his son's football game in Terrebonne.
Oh, you could have waited till next 2 weeks, man.
It was okay. We have a new assessors in town in Baton Rouge, and I was doing some training there anyway, so it's kind of on the way home, so.
I'm glad you brought an expert aboard with you.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, I'm the first to tell you. I might not know the answer, but we can find it for you.
That's right, that's
Thank
right.
y'all very much for
Thank you,
y'all
man.
assistance. Thank y'all.
So this time we'll have the presentation from U.S. Small Business Administration.
Christopher Rollins.
It says Mr. Victor, but
That's
probably not Mr. Victor.
That's
Victoria.
right. I'm replacing my colleague Victor. My name is Africa Rosas. I'm a public information officer for the Small Business Administration.
Okay, can you spell your name for the record, please?
Yes, Africa, like the continent, Africa. Rosas, Rosas. I will leave some business cards right here for
Great,
you.
thank you.
And I wanted to thank you all for inviting us today. And the reason we are here is because of Hurricane Francine and the damages that happened in these parishes. And you qualify for federal disaster loan with the Small Business Administration. And I wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of what that means. So this Hurricane Francine happened between September 9th through September 12th. So if your home, business, private nonprofit organization like a church was affected, was damaged, you may qualify for up to $500,000 to repair or replace your home, or even for relocation purposes. Sometimes, specifically in these areas, it doesn't make sense to rebuild something near the river. So we also allow that those loans, those funds, to be used for relocation purposes. And even though our name is Small Business Administration, we also help homeowners and renters. So that's something that we need to make very clear for the residents here, that we help homeowners and renters for homeowners and renters that lost sofas, TVs, things like that, personal property, that we can offer up to $100,000 in loans for them. And for small business owners, up to $2 million for economic injury. We have two deadlines that are very important for the application process. So for the physical damages, we have until November 18 of this year for them to apply. And for the economic injury, we have until June 16. They have 9 months to evaluate if they suffer loss of revenue. Sometimes, even though they are not directly impacted by the hurricane, but sometimes the residents are now spending the money at Home Depot repairing their homes instead of their businesses. So we allow 9 months for them to see if they see a trend, and they can borrow up to $2 million. The low interest that we have is starting for home loans in 2.813%, which is very low. Business loans is starting at 4%, and nonprofit organization loans 3.25%. And the best thing of all these loans is that they don't need to be repaid for up to a year. So they can apply at no cost, online or in person. I will let you know the locations we have. But we have a website, it's www.sba.gov/disaster. They can apply there for at no cost, and they don't need to take the loan. Within a week and a half or so, they will see if they qualify and for how much. And if they don't want to take the loan, that's fine. They have 6 months to decide. They can leave it there and maybe find other options. But we don't want them to wait for the insurance or wait for FEMA. They can submit a claim with their insurance. They can register with FEMA, and they can apply for an SBA loan. And the three of us, we communicate so we can, whatever the insurance doesn't cover, FEMA will try to provide grant money. Whatever FEMA doesn't cover, we can provide a loan. So the three of us will be working together. The loan term is up to 30 years. And like I said, it doesn't need to be repaid for up to a year. And if they take the loan, they can use it also for mitigation. So we can allow, let's say that they qualify for $100,000 to repair their home. We can allow up to 20% more, so $120,000
to repair their homes better, in a better way. If they need a taller fence, if they need a fireproof roof, it doesn't need to be just for hurricanes. It can be for any kind of disaster. We allow up to 20% more for these types of loans. And I want to be mindful of everybody's time, but if you have any questions.
You mentioned low interest. Do you have a year to pay back before your first payment?
Exactly, and the interest doesn't accrue for that whole year. And what I like to mention in these cases where there was flooding, right? Sometimes the residents don't see the damages right away, but then 2-3 months later, they see the mold in their garages. So what I say, even though you might not see a lot of damages or maybe just a tiny thing, please apply, because once you are in the system, like I said, if you qualify or not, you will have 6 months that you can reapply again, saying, you know what? After 60 days, now I see the mold. So they will reevaluate your application and see if you qualify. But if you don't do that before November 18th, you will lose that opportunity. And you might need to take a credit card that has very high interest. This is money that for 1 year you don't need to repay and doesn't have interest. So it's a great opportunity.
Good, thank you.
Regarding the locations, I like to mention that we have 4 locations in this part there. 3 locations, so between FEMA and I, and VSBA, we are in Donaldsonville, and we are in Gonzales as well. I will send you this information via online, but on our website, again, sba.gov/disaster, you can find all these documents, locations, the interest rates, everything. And you have my business card right here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have one more item that I know we have some members of the audience here for. That's number 18, discuss Bayou Crab no wake zone.
I'll put it back whenever we have a couple of camp owners here, I think.
Yeah, I'd like to, address the jury. Hi.
Name?
My name's Russell Joa. Everybody calls me Rusty. On behalf of several camp owners on Bayou Crab, we've been experiencing a disrespectful boater in the past probably 3-4 months. And after a confrontation with him, I called Wildlife and Fisheries, the Sheriff's Office, and both of them, each one gave me the same thing, call the other. So, the no-wake zone states it's a 1/4 mile from the cement bridge to past the camps. There's no verbiage saying from a 1/4 mile to the end of to the entrance of the lake. And this guy, I mean, it's in the police jury website.
I got it, I covered it.
You got it? Yeah, so I would like to add the verbiage in that to add the last 1/4 mile of the Bayou Crab to the lake.
Again today, and most of them, like the Lake Verret Basin, Bayou Genevieve, it's in the vicinity of camps.
Right.
So why couldn't we just add vicinity of camps?
You got camps, there?
Yeah.
Yes, they got camps, yes, like a 1/4 mile.
The lake.
Yeah.
To the.
I never been
coming
there.
back into Bayou
Right.
Crab.
There's a
like
section in the
that.
middle that doesn't have camps.
Yeah.
Was that?
There's a section in the middle that doesn't have.
Correct.
camps.
I'd like to add in vicinity of the camps.
Yeah,
Cover
from the
both sides.
left, from the a 1/4 mile from the lake back to the end of the camps.
Right.
There's already buoys there, and probably 99.9% of the people abide by it. And,
It's just this one on,
was that?
it's just one boater?
Pretty much, yeah. And from what I gathered, we got several people that got camera footage. I mean, I had a confrontation with the guy, because when he would come out, I'd try to flag him down and slow him down, and
He got a camp up the bayou?
yeah, at Bayou Crab itself. He recently, purchased a camp. called the detective, Donnie Calamia. And since, I found out Donnie has talked to this guy, and which he was right, the verbiage wasn't in there. That's why I'm here to, have it added.
Lonnie reached out to me if we could just change the verbiage.
Yeah, we can, girl.
Change the verbiage and, also update the signage. Get new buoys, more signs at the, where no wake starts and where it ends. And I can do it myself if I have to.
Mike, we got a call for a public hearing. That's an ordinance right there, right?
Talk to the sheriff's office. Yes.
It would be.
Yeah, he
It's
called
an
me.
ordinance.
Okay,
First
all right.
service.
So
I did. Sheriff's office, the first person I talked to with the sheriff's office said, call Wildlife and Fisheries. I called Wildlife and Fisheries. They said that's not their jurisdiction. But in the police jury, notes, it says Assumption Parish, Sheriff's Office, Wildlife and Fisheries, all should participate in enforcing.
They can't enforce it until they're in law.
How are they gonna enforce that stuff?
They can write tickets if they're there.
Yeah, that's only if they're there.
If they're there.
Yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
it's just
Right.
it's a misdemeanor, so.
That's me, I think, but.
The thing about it is having the verbiage in there, because this guy, well, it doesn't say it anywhere, I can do what I want. And the confrontation was, you know, well, just have respect for the rest of these cans, you know?
That's all you're saying, was it?
So,
Just need to call for,
You call for a public hearing.
Make a motion
Call
to have
for,
a public
yeah,
hearing.
public hearing on that.
All right, so the motion by Mr. Diaz on the floor that we have a public hearing for, modification of the ordinance as it relates to, no wake zones or idle no wake zones.
Second.
And we'll come up with some language, to get it, because the other thing that I think we need to add in here is some definition of what is the vicinity of a camp. So we just need to put some distance in there.
Get a distance.
Bayou not very wide. It won't take much to get within that number, but I think just in the definitions, maybe we can address that. The motion on the floor by Mr. Diaz, second by Mr. Pineville. All in favor? Opposed?
So at the next meeting, we'll have a public hearing and we'll vote on it there.
Just to add to Mr. Zero's comments, so I'm Mark Clifton, I'm a camp owner down by your crab. And, it's been said by both, Water Patrol and the Wildlife and Fisheries that the ordinance number actually needs to be placed in the buoy. So if you look at the Bayagana Bay, the ordinance is on the top of the buoy, where we do have buoys. Now, the buoys in Bayou Crab are old, and we've been pulled them from every which way because they've come loose and we put them back. But this, just a comment to that, is that if the ordinance number is on there, suppose that that's what's needed to be able to enforce.
On the signs too.
Right, and we have several signs that in other parts of the parish that are faded and you can't read them anymore. So we just need to do a replacement of those signs throughout all of these no wake zones.
thank you.
Yep. Okay, I believe that covers all the items that we had members of the audience to address. So we'll go back to our drainage committee report, Chairman Pineville.
Yes, sir. The Drainage Committee meeting was held this afternoon. All members were present besides Mr. Carter at the start of the meeting. Item number one, we approved to pay the recording costs for the Plottville Drainage District construction contract in the amount of $1,590. We approved to sweep the Loop Canal, South Loop Canal, or two. We discussed drainage issues at Bruley, Laverdale, Miss Newman, and several other constituents of Ward 2. We spoke about the purchase of a diesel generator. Mr. Sawa is going to get us an update on that at the next meeting, or the cost analysis on that. We approved to clean out the outfall wall 4, and we spoke about it. Mr. Sawa is going to work on that as well, on Spring Mill backflow from the Maury Canal, Oakley Road, 3555 LA1. Mr. Aaron's going to work on that, as long as Georgia Road. He's going to get in touch with DOTD and request some more information. We approved to replace the culvert at 4520 Highway 1. And we approved to replace the culvert at 4525 Highway 145. We tabled, no action was taken, no. Kim's gonna send a letter to DOTD for Ward, 6 for the state ditches and highway 10,003. We tabled item number 9 and number 10. Now present this all in form of motion.
Motion by Mr. Pineville. Second by Mr. Mathern, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. At 5:14, Finance Committee met. All members were present. We approved the pay list of bills submitted through September 20th, 2024. We approved the budget comparison statements for August 2024. We had a brief discussion regarding the parish-wide recreation allocations. We approved to pay the engineering invoice for Attakapaw in the amount of $104,303.58. We approved to accept the low bidder for, we rejected the bid that we had for fleet fuel, recognizing that the bid was significantly higher than what our existing cost is. We approved, task order 1 from Roston Solutions in the amount of, $100,000 not to exceed for, their monitoring service as it relates to the, storm debris pickup. And, we approved a 1-week extension to the, waiving of permitting fees for electrical rework related to the storm. And for item 6, I'll also need to add to that, we authorize the president to sign that task order.
Motion to accept your report.
Motion to accept the report by Mr. Nakam, second by Mr. Alcorn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Personnel Committee report, Chairman Diaz.
Personnel Committee met at 5:30. All members are present. Item 1, we tabled. Item 2, we approved for Special Program Director to serve on the Rural Community Advisory Board, representation of the parish. Police hearing. Item 3, we approved to end the probationary period for Equipment Operator 1, effective 10/4/24. Item 4, we approved the end probationary period of general maintenance worker effective 9/28/24. An increase in pay from grade 5, step 9 to grade 5, step 10, effective 10/4/24. Item 5, we approved to change position from employee from an equipment operator 2 to equipment operator 3, effective 10/4/24. We had one deviation. We approved the recommendation of the parish manager to terminate an employee. Present this as all in the form of a motion.
Motion by Mr. Diaz,
Second.
second by Mr. Pineville. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Road and Bridge Committee report, Chairman Alcorn.
Yeah, Road and Bridge Committee met this afternoon. All members were present. One item on the agenda. We had a brief discussion regarding the status of LA1 being re-overlaid, repaid. The parish president will get with DOT and give us an update, hopefully within the next meeting. I give you that item as part of a motion.
Motion by Mr. Alcorn, second by Mr. Bro. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Engineering Grants Committee report.
Yes,
Chairman
Engineering
Nakam.
Grant Committee meeting, all members are present. First item, we had update from GIS Engineering on Jolie Moore, Bertrandsville, Bell Rose, and projects. Nobody was here from the planning through. We had update from Infinity Engineering on parish-wide sewer plant projects. Update from the grants coordinator. That item was approved to accept the highest score for grant administrator for the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Mitigation Program, and that was awarded to ELOS. We had an update from South Central Planning Development Commission on several projects, discuss upcoming application for the GAP, upcoming application for capital outlay, and discussed transportation alternative program and grant applications. And under that, asked Mr. Sawad to have some information on Highway 400 sidewalk and Monterey sidewalk, site plan and cost. Next, we had update on Ag Center Group project. updated courthouse renovation project. We rejected the bids for the, Ag Center project. We did that, we scoped that project, updated courthouse renovations, no report of that. Update on the revised list of fire department priorities. Update on Tackle Park Landing project, discuss funding sources for engineering. That was table. Discuss update to RFQ policy. We'll get a report back from, Calabro on that. And, we heard from, Ross Stan, Hurricane Recovery, discuss hazards, litigation grants. Present you that all in form of motion.
A motion from Mr. Nakam,
Second.
second by Mr. Diaz, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, request approval and authorizations relative to aerial mosquito control services due to Hurricane Francine.
So y'all approved to sign the contract last week. It was brought to my attention after everything was signed that we are required to get the contract signed within 60 days of the bid being accepted, which we didn't do. So trying to revoke that contract, not gonna say bypass, but to be able to get quotes instead of go out for bids, we have to have the president sign a emergency declaration. So I'm asking that he does that. So can we do those two things first?
Motion to revoke the contract.
All right, there's a motion, by Mr. Nakam to revoke the contract authorization that was granted on the 9/18/24 meeting.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ponville, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Motion to authorize president to sign declaration of emergency warranty, emergency bid process.
Motion by Mr. Nakam,
Second.
second by Mr. Alcorn, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, so next I sent a request for quotes to the two companies that normally bid on this. I received them back. And it was the same company, had the lowest bid and it was the same bid price as they did in December. So I recommend we accept that.
Different date on that.
VDCI is Vector Disease Control International. And it's $1.99 per acre. The cost that we discussed last meeting will stay the same. I'm asking that we approve them as the lowest.
Motion to accept the lowest bidder.
Motion to accept the lowest proposal received by Mr. Pineville,
Second.
second by Mr. Diaz, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And, now seek a motion to authorize the president to sign the contract with the lowest proposal services for services limited to 2 completed aerial spray missions. And that is provided we have the landing rate count.
Correct,
That
and we'll either
justifies
start
the
on the
rate.
land rate count tomorrow or Friday, and hopefully not hopefully, but if they meet the requirements, we can get in there early next.
After the spraying, and we get another count to see how effective it was.
We'll find out like 2 weeks later, they were coming back, population, so we sprayed. That's why I'm asking for 2 sprays, but yeah. I think we do have that kind of information. I just didn't have it at the time when you asked me the other day.
Justin, how's the acreage calculated? We have that?
That is map. That goes all the way back to what we use for Gustav, and basically, Bayou Lafourche. Bayou Lafourche. Gapart, Bell River, Bayou Lewis. Y'all can kind of see it. It's whatever's included in this box. So we didn't change, we can't spray, everywhere. So we try to get the most populated areas. I can send this map to y'all if y'all like.
Yeah, send it to me.
Send
And also the dates when they'll be spraying.
I need a
it
motion
depends
for
on the count.
authorization. Motion by Mr. Diaz, second by Mr. Pineville, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. All right, any other questions for him before we?
No.
Oh, Austin has something
I
related.
understand this is not my topic, but I just wanted to bring it up because we've gotten this activity reimbursed for other clients post-disaster report. I know nothing about your mosquito abatement program. I'd have to ask several questions to kind of figure out what you guys do on an annual basis, but basically, if you can prove a delta, the change between your normal operating cycle and your increased need for mosquito abatement post-event, that becomes an eligible category B expense from a FEMA.
Right, we've actually been successful at get reimbursed in the past. Thank you.
Thank you.
We won't be spraying it, but with.
Good looking out, though.
All right, next item, request approval for rental rate reduction for Assumption Parish Community Center for HS baseball, softball fundraiser.
We did that last year.
Yeah, they requested the nonprofit rate
Yeah.
to,
They
I
going
think
in
it's
the gym or they
2,500.
going in the, ballroom?
Community, the gym.
The gym, yeah. Yeah, let me know.
How much was it?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Diaz, second by Mr. Alcorn. All in favor?
15 or 2,000?
Opposed?
15? It's not 2,000.
I believe it's 2,500 is the rate that they pay. 25.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they couldn't book it without us getting this approval. That's why they were seeking approval now, but it will be at the beginning of next week. Request approval for the president to sign letter of support for funding under the Criminal Justice Priority Funding Commission Program to construct the River Parishes Regional Juvenile Detention Center as requested by Sheriff Leland Falcon. All right, I spoke to Sheriff Falcon about that today, and he said that this is just the beginning of it, but they're looking at building a regional facility. Lafourche Parish has the property to build it on. And it was just letting us know. And then he said that the cost for the parish that we would incur to participate is projected to be, at or below what we're existing paying for the juvenile program.
Second.
Motion, sorry, who made the motion? Mr. Carter or Mr. Nakane?
I did.
Mr. Nakane, second by Mr. Pineville. All in favor?
All
Opposed? Motion carries. Discuss dumpster service for ARC recycling program. I received a call from the director of the ARC and their dumpster, charge that they're gonna be incurring is, well, they were getting their dumpster as a complimentary service from Waste Management, whenever Waste Management had our contract. And, I think they just realized that they were still providing a complimentary service to the ARC for their dumpster. But when they realized that their new rate, I think it's approximately $500 a month for the dumpster there. So, I kind of spoke to her to see what her needs were, what prices she had. And the price that we currently have on our, annual bid through Republic is less than what they quoted her to supply a dumpster there. This recycling program is part of our contribution to the ARC, right? It is a parish recycling program. We contribute to them for that. So if we would not, if we choose not to provide a dumpster under the parish's contract for this program, I would expect that they would just seek that funding from us to increase the funding. So what I'm seeking is a motion that we add a Republic dumpster to the ARC for their recycling program.
Motion. How many times they get their dumpster dumped, you know? Is it
Twice a
once
week.
month, twice a week?
Twice a week.
Okay, is that still under the contracts, terms and conditions?
Yes,
When
it
they
was.
come and get our stuff, or is it just at will?
Yeah, Aaron sent me the rates. It was below that.
So, are we getting charged any dumping fees?
I'm sorry.
Or we get, it's a flat rate?
Yes, yeah.
I think for that's front loading dumpsters.
Okay.
That's not a roll.
Right.
Oh, I don't have it written down.
When I look at 8 yard. That'd be twice a week. A roll off, you got a call. A roll off's different, that's correct.
So about 300 a month. Y'all know we operate on a tight budget on that one too. Gotta know the number.
Well, we got 4 of them, huh?
No, we have like, we got way more than that.
We need them all? We can't loan them one of ours and just have it moved over there?
No, we have them throughout the parish.
Tackle call, we got them at a lot.
All right,
We got them at that. Ag Center, community.
I'll look it up and we'll revisit that before we conclude the meeting. We'll come back to item 17, after we get the calls. Number 19, request approval to amend ordinance 2414 to levy grass cutting charges totaling $2,737.58. Motion by Mr. Nakane,
Second.
second by Mr. Pineville. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Item 20, request approval to grant leniency to the homeowner located at 145 Dag Street for junk pickup. Falcon.
I was asked to, table this, till this meeting again, elderly person, I'm asking for leniency, to grant him leniency, based on everything that happened. We all know the story. But before I can even go, I was advised that I have to, reopen that motion, to go ahead and enter a CEA between the landowner and also the judge, where the owner would pay half of the total cost and the jury will supplement the other half. So before we can move any further, I have to put a motion out there.
Motion to renew.
Motion to renew, not reopen, renew. Thank you, Mike.
So,
That's my motion.
Motion to renew by Mr. Alcorn. Second by Mr. Carter. All in favor? Opposed? Nay. Nay?
Nay.
Two, three nays.
Oh, where's the one over here?
Ira. Three nays. Motion carried.
But you didn't.
Oh, 4 nays. Motion carried. Request approval to grant leniency to homeowner located at 6685 Highway 308 for junk pickup.
This one here, little different. The resident
Is that
never.
just the motion to renew? Now we gotta vote on the motion. We gotta-
Yeah.
Oh, I need a secondary
Yeah,
motion.
yeah,
I
yeah,
need a-
that's just to
I
bring
need
it
a
to
secondary.
discussion.
I need a secondary motion. I got to put a secondary motion out on the table to renew the motion.
To authorize the cooperative endeavor agreement and to authorize the jury to pay half contingent on the citizen paying half.
To authorize the endeavor agreement and to authorize
Jury to pay half,
Citizen-
citizen pay half.
50-50 split.
50-50 split between the jury and.
So this is the total you got, Ron?
Yeah.
52?
Yeah, it'll be like $776.25 for item number 20. And it'll be $718.75 for item number 21.
And they have to pay in full.
And have to pay in
Yes.
full.
Correct.
That's your motion?
That's my
I'm
motion.
second.
Motion by Mr. Alcorn, second by Mr. Carter. All in favor? Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Same 4 nay. Motion carried. Item 21, request approval to grant leniency to the homeowner located at 6685 Highway 308 for junk pickup.
The same thing, Ron.
Same
Motion to
thing.
renew.
First of all, I gotta renew the motion to enter into a CEA agreement between the landowner and also the
Motion
judge.
to renew, by Mr. Alcorn,
Second.
second by Mr. Carter. All in favor?
Uh,
Opposed?
Nay.
All right, 4 nay, motion carried.
second.
Seek a
On the
motion for
same
the
item,
CEA.
secondary motion, to authorize the CEA, between the jury and the homeowner, 50-50.
So both 20 and 21 had garbage taken out from their place.
You don't even know what's going on and you vote.
Voted.
20,
We didn't
look,
vote on it.
20, that was a complaint that was sent in. The parish went out and did their review. Later on, the pile started getting
But
service.
both-
Listen,
both
listen,
piles?
listen,
Both?
listen. No, this one here, they never got they never received their notification. And the contractor went out and picked up. They never received anything. They never saw it in the paper and they never got their certified letter.
But be clear that we went through the parish went through the process.
I did say that. I never took nothing from the
The
parish.
parish went
I
through the
never did
process.
that. I
On
never-
item
never said that.
21,
Never said that.
our debris collector spoke to the contractor that was actually a family member that wasn't paid to do the work, but did not speak to the homeowner and told them that they were not
Yeah, I
paying.
understand that.
But the message did
But I
not
didn't-
get back.
I didn't know number 21.
That is 21.
That is
Yeah,
21.
that's 21.
Our debris contractor should not be having conversations with a contractor saying that they're not gonna pick it up. It should be with the homeowner or with the jury.
So
That's
we're
my
gonna go
opinion.
back and try to get paid from the contractor?
I think we should.
How you gonna?
Oh, I'm
pursue that?
talking about our debris contractor.
that's
He
what
should have
I'm
been
talking
picking up this debris.
Okay, so how are we gonna pursue that?
The bulky waste contract you're referring to?
Yes.
Yeah, you guys just need to hold them more accountable on these things, and we've talked about it time and time again, you have to have them come to a
They
meeting.
refuse to come to the meetings when we.
We'll
ask them to
request
come
the
to
next meeting. Oh, yeah, man.
All right.
But you gotta have what you wanna talk about.
We need an updated out of spec list from them, which I requested back in what, May? Do we
Yes,
need to
they
request it?
did send one in July.
They did say, okay, I wasn't on that email.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor by Mr. Alcorn, second by Mr. Carter, relative to approving to grant leniency and enter into a CEA, so that the parish to pay half, and the homeowner, provided the homeowner pay half. All in favor? Opposed?
Nay.
5 opposed. Motion failed. Request approval of a can shake permit for Knights of Columbus 1099 on October 11th, 2024 and October 12th, 2024.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Diaz, second by Mr. Pineville. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. So I have the list of dumpsters that we currently have, just revisiting the previous item that we left, item 17.
1 8-yard. 1 8-yard dumpster twice a week. 240, 248 a month.
How much, Aaron?
240, 248.
48 a month.
So it'll be charged out of solid waste.
Oh.
Motion to approve that charge out of solid waste.
Motion by Mr. Nakam. Second by Mr. Diaz. All in favor? Opposed?
Motion adjourned.
Motion adjourned by Mr. Nakam. Second by Mr. Carter. All in favor? Opposed?